morning and welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg and it's the 10th day of May 2024. Welcome to our show today. And we've got off the grid first aid and preparedness. And then at 10:30 today, I have another guest coming on. His name is Tom Hamner. He was a J6'er, got out of jail. They have a daughter who is autistic. The mom, his wife Steffany, decided to take her to a concert. They're in Colorado, in Tennessee. She went to this concert with her daughter. It was kind of one of those, country bar type venues. Mom didn't have anything to drink. Something triggered the daughter, and the cops came in and basically kidnapped her through CPS. And it's been 2 years now. The daughter is showing signs of both physical and sexual abuse as they have been moving her around from their human trafficking foster care network, because that's exactly what's going on here. And so he's going to be on the second part of the show. And I want to tell everybody, they need our help. So I would encourage you to listen to this, get your friends to listen to this, and we're going to get a plan here on how to help them. Because, there was a gal that's in Michigan. Her name is Audra, and her daughter was autistic and kidnapped. The Michigan militia actually stepped up to help them, and then those people that helped them ended up being targeted in the fake kidnapping plot of Gretchen Whitmer. So there's always backlash to this when you step up and do things. So I want you to think about this. J6 dad's in prison. He gets out of their gulag there. I'm not going to call it prison. I'm going to call it unjust political prisoner. Mom is still trying to make sure she can take care of their autistic daughter. And Will Dad's in the gulag. They basically grabbed the kid grabbed Lillian and abscond with her. CPS is the child trafficking organization. They get about $1 million per kid that they traffic, and they grab all these guys that are doing the right thing and grab this child. I've got the pictures of the abuse and the scars and the such that she has under the care of CPS. And we're going to be talking to this. They need our help because they need to get her out of this human trafficking situation that's going on in CPS in Tennessee. So we need to get something to the governor and the people down there to help them, because this is tragic. So anyhow, we're going to go right into off the grid first aid and preparedness. Morning, Ralph. Morning, David.
Good morning.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Well, we're going to help this family. And so, not only are we helping families as the grid goes down, because it's going to, I don't know if you saw this, but I published a thing on the 4 coronal mass ejections that happened this week that are supposed to be here this weekend. The guy says we got about an 8 to 10% kill shot on the grid with this particular coronal mass ejection. I don't know what to believe about this, but I just put it out there just in case, because I think we should consider everything. So not just pick and choose and say, well, it's my perception that this is just not real. We need to look at everything. We don't know. So at any rate, the preparedness is important. Going into this, however, I want to play this video a minute real quick. And remember that there's a lot of crap going on, and we're in a spiritual war. So let's go here.
Speaking poorly about you, this is a good sign. It means that the Creator has sent this person to take negativity from you. There is a spiritual law that says when someone speaks badly about you, speaks behind your back, whether it's true or not, and is negatively affecting your reputation, as long as you accept it, you get excited about it, even if you have to fake that, and you learn to love it in that moment, it says that this person takes all of the negativity that was in your soul, it takes it upon their soul. You actually transfer negativity, judgment, chaos that you were supposed to go through to them simply by not reacting to them, accepting that the situation came for your ultimate good, and even if you can, getting excited about it.
I think that's a really great way to start the day, because when we're doing things that are counterintuitive to the world, we're probably over the target on doing the right thing. And so
taken away from that is to make sure that the rest of us talk behind other people's backs for their benefit, right?
yeah, how about not?
Yeah. And then as far as the sun goes, we're coming up on next year, I think, is in I believe it's July, is when we've got the next solar cycle maximum, because there's a sunspot cycle that's 11 years long. It's been it's a consistent natural thing. It's every 11 years, the sun, we get more sunspots, and then we get less sunspots. Then we get more sunspots. And it's consistent enough that you can actually use it for radio transmissions, for bouncing radio transmissions further. Kind of knowing when the sunspot cycle happens, you can bounce further, because the sunspots, to simplify, it makes the atmosphere more reflective to radio waves.
Yeah, make sure you're speaking English here, Ralph, because the rest of us don't speak 100% tech language all the time. So
when we're talking about coronal mass ejections, though, I mean, we're approaching the maximum point of that 11-year sunspot cycle, which is, that'll be next year. So we're getting close to it.
So let's go ahead and move into the let's see, they're messing with you again. We got all kinds of stuff going on here. I think that yesterday with my screen going black for going after who, let's say Betsy DeVos and Amway and such, my screen turns dark. Well, I just screw all of them, because I posted some of the stuff that I'm sure they don't want out there as their right-hand man. Just wait till I get into the property evaluation on them. That's going to be really funny, because you threatened Donna Brandenburg. Donna Brandenburg is just going to throw it out there and absolutely make sure that everybody knows what's going on. Did you know that they own a little island?
They
In
own
Michigan.
island? Which one?
In Michigan. Oh, I'm going to hold that back, because I'm hoping that they start sweating right now, because there's all of these wonderful things that you can go down. Hang on, I'm going to cough again. So you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Well,
so
I wonder what kind of island they own. It seems like a lot of these families own islands.
Yeah, that seems to be a pretty common occurrence.
Epstein, Biden, they all have islands.
And there's plenty of islands around Michigan.
I can imagine there's a lot you can do on an island that would be very private.
Yeah. Well, I think today we were going to talk about like first aid kind of stuff. What all did you want to talk about today?
Well, we went through all the supplies you need for first aid, and I guess we talked about pressure to wounds, things like that.
Okay, I should have just gotten up this morning and had my bottle of Mucinex right here to stop the coughing. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to cough. It's the body's natural reaction. Same with, diarrhea, things like that. It's the body's natural protective mechanism. And like with diarrhea, for instance, you ingested some sort of toxin or something your body doesn't want and wants to get it out. But if you jump and take Imodium, you hold it in there longer. Same with coughing. You get a little infection in your lung. One of the body's defenses is to cough and get it all out. Get that phlegm moving so you can swallow it and kill it in the stomach. And if you take these a cough suppressant or something, it can make it worse, make it last longer. So you really need to know, like, when would you take it?
I take it just to get on camera here, and then I'm done with it. Because, like, if I ever get a fever, you know what I do is I will pile the blankets on, and try to make the fever go higher. I don't try to get rid of the fever. I dive right into it or sit in front of a fire and try to raise my body temperature. That's what I personally do.
Well, that's like the old saying, feed a fever, starve a cold.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about starving a little bit, but about food and stuff. But that's a great example, Donna, as a fever. That's your body's natural reaction to fight off whatever is going on. It's an infection of some sort. So if you suppress your fever with, Tylenol or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, you're probably hurting yourself more.
That's actually one theory I saw recently about why bats seem to be so resistant to various diseases that should be able to affect them. Is they found that when bats are flying, it takes so much energy for them to fly that their internal body temperature actually shoots up like crazy. And so effectively, they're more or less giving themselves a fever every time that they fly. And they figure that more or less kind of like kills off a lot of pathogens that would otherwise affect them.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't get sick very often, but usually it's because of my own fault. Like I overdo it and then I just don't stop. And then I feel like 2% better. And then it's like, okay, I'm done with this. And then it's all out because I just don't sit still very, very well. It's not one of those things I've been given.
No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I mean, if you're sick enough that you can't get out of bed, you probably shouldn't be getting out of bed. If you can,
probably
okay. You're probably not going to make it.
As soon as you're well enough to be able to get out of bed, then it's time to go run a marathon, right?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, that seems like the logical thing to do for me. But see, like this is what you do. Threaten down to Brandenburg, and this is what we do. So it's like people like this who perhaps thought that it was a good idea to maybe threaten down to Brandenburg and doesn't want their name out there. This is Jerry Tubergen, by the way. He is the trustee for every DeVos Family Foundation, and we can go down that path right there because I think that we need to see who's who in the zoo. And so this who's who in the zoo is on the paperwork of all kinds of things. And also the CEO of RDV Corporation in Grand Rapids, which is where they broke, who knows, Tudor Dixon through in conjunction with the Econ Club of Grand Rapids. So, when you go to all these things and see who's who in the zoo, people want to, worship them because they have all this money. Well, it should be making you ask questions when they are there. It seems like a whole great big organized an organism that's made up of all kinds of little cells and such. So I go to my Telegram channel. You might find out that there's some crazy stuff there, and I've got some more stuff to post.
Do you think that almost all of these billionaire families, these legacy families, are controlled in some way by someone? Because they're the ones that are basically sending the money to the NGOs with our government. And
Absolutely.
the NGOs are responsible for smuggling kids and all the stuff going on in the country. It's all done through NGOs. I think they're originally set up by the CIA, but funding is coming from these families. So they must have somehow people like you just showed must be their handlers or controllers telling them what to do.
Well, there's basically 22 oligarch families in the state of Michigan that actually buy off for elections. All right. So once you know all the names of these oligarch families and how they actually work together, but when you watch them and see how they work, if you don't drink the Kool-Aid, okay, and you start thinking, you can start putting this together. So Tubergen, Jerry Tubergen's wife is Marcy Tubergen, and she was the patron saint basically of the grassroots group. And so all these, she started having meetings on their 600-acre little farm out there at her house and such. And she's going to be grassroots. And then the grassroots people believe that she's grassroots and all of this stuff. You know, you got the same thing happening in the health community with the movie Vaxxed, and watch the connections there. Watch what happens with, I think there's another event coming out for Andrew Wakefield, and who's who in the zoo and who's standing with him there, and whether they're just another part of this, because these people are going and they're wolves in sheep's clothing. They're going to put on different disguises so that people think, oh, this is the new savior to our problem. This is the new person. You know what, people? I'm sorry. Don't be stupid. They're all in this together. And if they think they can capture another group of people who are just trying to do the right thing, they will.
Yeah.
And so I got into the 990s of one of Tubergen's companies that he represents, that he's on, right?
The 990s?
Yeah, it's like the NGO, their NGO paperwork and such. And I got all the names of all the companies and corporations and NGOs that they're doing donations to. And I can tell you what I saw when I looked at this. I'm like, oh, okay, these guys are slick. They're going in there and they're making donations to these starving NGOs with people that think some of them are probably trying to do the right thing. But I'm pretty extra sure not all of them. And a lot of them have probably already been infiltrated. So I'm like, okay, so what they'll do is they'll do a few donations, and then you'll see a bunch of these head kind of donor corporations and PACs and such, and they start raising money and giving money to these little NGOs. But they'll do it all at the same time. So all of a sudden you'll see a bunch of them that they kind of move like a herd. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. So it shuts the NGOs and everybody involved up, because they sit there and go, no, these are good people. They gave us money for what we're doing here. You know what? You're drinking the Kool-Aid. Because money's involved in it, all of a sudden everybody gets stupid. And instead of being able to have a critical ability to critically think, they're not going to go ahead and bite the hand that feeds them, even if the hand is bad. And it's like, or rigging our elections. And so, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to shut you up because there's a money flow there. And so, and what's behind the money flow? I don't know. All I can tell you is that when you see all of a sudden Tudor Dixon, who is a globalist, her dad was behind Falls River Group, which was selling information globally. Her dad died while she was running. Well, my dad did too. Boo frickin' who? Why does anybody? I didn't expect any pity. I never even said anything about it, because that's separate from a political run. You don't use it to get pity points. It's disgusting. And my dad died too in February 14, Valentine's Day, during my run. I didn't ask for any pity. I didn't want anything, but they sure leveraged that. Don't say anything, because poor Tudor Dixon's dad died. Well, you know what? A lot of people's dad died. A lot of people have had cancer. They don't use it to get votes. That's not okay. Yeah. And but where did they break her into the scene? They broke her at RDV. It was a DeVos event. And so it's like, so I'm like, come on, people, let's get smarter about this and look into this. It's like, they're the ones that are buying the election, 22 families. And go ahead, threaten me again. Let's see where this goes. Because guess what? I've showed the map where that little island is. Right here next to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Isn't that convenient?
Oh, there's an island there?
There's all kinds
Michigan.
There's all kinds of islands around Michigan. You go over to the east side between Michigan and Canada. We got all kinds of islands. They're digging up dead kids' bones over there on a couple of them, because it's a gateway to get to Castro land. Trudeau is Castro's kid.
Yeah, islands are very protected.
Everything can be hidden there.
Yeah.
You want to know something else really weird? Okay, so here's another one. I'm going to throw something else out there to blow people's minds, and we'll get into off the grid. I was doing some aerial evaluations, and there's a dock off of Camp Geneva over in Holland. How do you put a dock into Lake Michigan? hidden, and it was like, so how come they get privilege to have this doc out there? They're running under the radar as Christian. So all the Christians are stupid and won't question it. And they got a doc out on Lake Michigan at Camp Geneva. So I started doing like evaluations of who's who in the zoo, who owns the land, who's down there, and what's the connection. Why do you have a doc in Lake Michigan randomly? All of a sudden, this thing is sticking out in Lake Michigan to Camp Geneva. How can they even do this?
What's the story?
I don't know. Nobody's ever answered the question.
Who owns the island?
Well, that's different than the island. There's a dock off of Camp Geneva, but then there's another. I kind of skipped around. There's an island that DeVos Holdings holds, and it's in the middle of Grand River, which is kind of interesting.
In the Grand River.
Yeah, what a great way to traffic kids that would be.
Oh, absolutely.
The Grand River would be an easy way to traffic kids. You could jump on the river and you're right out in Lake Michigan.
Yeah, we have an island where I live in Orchard Lake. It's a big island in the middle of the lake, but no, you're not allowed to go there.
Yeah, and don't you want to know why?
It's owned by the city, and you're not allowed to go on it.
Well, isn't that wild? And then you've got, I'm not like saying that this island that DeVos owns is that they're trafficking kids. It just seems like, I think we should ask some questions. I want to know. I want to know what's happening there, because when you look at the waterways and such, it's a great way to make people disappear.
Oh,
and it's like Fox Island in the 70s, they were trafficking kids like crazy. And it was connected to these kids that were being murdered in Detroit. So I think that we need some questions answered, especially when you see who's who in the zoo, who's buying our politics. And our oligarch families are the ones behind it. Our votes don't matter because they just put people in place and they pay for them.
Oh,
and then they threaten the people that are actually for real.
And you wonder why our politicians don't do anything for us. It's because they're all controlled.
They're all part of it. You give them a few crumpets of money to shut them up, or you start to threaten them or coerce them or something. Mm-hmm. And and then there you go. It's kind of crazy. It's like I meet people all over the place. It's amazing how many people think they can buy you off. I had somebody offer me a diamond necklace to be friends. I'm like going, okay, I just let this person talk. And I'm like, yeah, I hope you realize that none of this means jack crap to me. It's like, but it shows their character.
Wow.
I wouldn't take it anyway, but keep talking, idiots, because you just lay out who you really are.
Yeah. How many NGOs, do you know how many there are? I mean, do we have any idea? NGOs just
take the number of people and double it. That should be about right.
Well, let's see. You know what? I'll look it up right now, because that's what we do, people. We look it up on the fly here.
And what a great invention by the CIA to hide whatever activities they want and these families want, because they don't have to report anything. No,
they can money launder like there's no tomorrow through them, because they can give money.
From one NGO to another, and it's just that all the money's lost, but they're all doing the same stuff. They're the
Holy crap! 59,865 in Michigan.
No way.
I'm not kidding you. This is yeah. And then let me
1,000.
Yeah, in Michigan. Oh my gosh, check this out. Okay, so I'm going to read this. This is what came back. There are, the IRS lists 54,987 active tax-exempt organizations operating in Michigan, including 43,972 501c3s to which you can make a tax-deductible donation. These numbers might vary slightly.13,000 organizations employ over, get out of town, 813,404 people earning more than $96 billion in revenue each year and have assets of $337 billion in Michigan.
But it's all nonprofit, so it's okay.
All right. I hate to say this, but I'm going to be posting this. It's like, this is crazy, people.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
But it's all nonprofit, so all of that money stuff is just fictitious, right?
This is great. This is from Cause IQ, which is where I had somebody dig up something on Jerry Tiberghien. Oh my goodness, people. This is like Christmas this is Christmas for Donna Brandenburg right here. Let's just keep going, people. See what's going on here. Let's see. Let me post this.
But oh my gosh, how could they possibly bring in revenue if they're not a profit?
They all have great names like Save the Children, Save Israel, Save Christian this.
Christian.
It's all the opposite of whatever they're saying, because we don't need NGOs. I mean, what do we need those for? Christian.
Let's just go ahead and keep going with this. I mean, this is so, it's like, it's crazy. Okay, so let me see. I'm going to post that a minute. And let me grab Cause IQ here. And Cause IQ, let's see, the links are Cause IQ, Projects ProPublica, and Story Maps. This is awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see if I can grab these. I'm gonna go ahead and put this where we can find them later, guys. So crazy.
You guys saw that the Guatemalan Attorney General raided Save the Children in Guatemala because they're basically, kidnapping kids and involved in bringing them into the United States. And Joe Biden sits on the board. Save the
No
Children.
way.
Oh yeah, it's all over. Tori broke it. She actually went down there undercover and sent the stuff and then met with the Guatemalan Attorney General. And of course, now that Blinken is down there trying to get the government to get her out, and
they're always where the kids are.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know because the news doesn't report any of this stuff.
Well, this is interesting. So yeah, it's like looking into these things and who's who in the zoo, who's behind it, guys. I mean, we got to look at this stuff. It's who is behind this stuff, and how are they moving money? They're all doing it through foundations, fellowships, NGOs, and all. Think about this: $96 billion in revenue each year, and assets of $337 billion in these nonprofits.
That's crazy. It's like, where does that money? It doesn't come from, small $5 donations. That's coming from these families, that are obviously blackmailed or something, because they're not
corporations.
Corporations, families, just universities. Look at how the universities are being exposed now.
Well, and look at something else that's kind of interesting. If you look at what is it, AIPAC? It's the Jewish lobby. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say Jewish. It's just like Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever.
Yeah.
All of these organizations that are sitting on the top. Watch Anti-Defamation League come after me. Go ahead, guys. That's okay. Because the thing of it is that they're not representative of the Jewish people. We love the Jewish people. We love people. It's the governments that are of this world, which are straight from hell, and the people who are not protecting. They're not protecting the Jewish people. They're in with Hamas and Hezbollah, murdering them, just like they're murdering people all over the world. That's what these people are all about.
So I imagine the criticisms of China. It's like it's not the Chinese people that. The people criticizing China, it's not who they have a bone to pick with. It's with the government that's mistreating the Chinese people.
And I believe the DeVosses are right in there with AIPAC. What is it? It's the Jewish or the Israeli lobbying pack. I brought it up yesterday. Let me see if I can grab it here. I heard of a meeting they had that there was only 10 people in there, and they were all getting the cards from this little organization. And so they went ahead, and it was like a real small meeting. It's a DeVos meeting, and they were sharing cards from this, and it's this pack. And you look at this kind of thing, it's like, are they out to keep that strong? Who are they? What are they doing? Why do we have dual citizenship?
Right.
you know, how much money have they put into this in this pack?
Yeah.
And you know, it's like how is this benefiting the Israeli people?
Right.
How is this benefiting them, or is this just the Khazarian mafia that's behind everything? I kind of think that's what we got going on here.
Something's at the top of it all, but
Satan himself, I'm going to tell you right now. So anyhow, well, we blew through a half hour here talking about this. So so where are we going to go, boys and girls, here on the preparedness?
so what else should we talk about? You know, one other thing that we forgot to include is a runny nose. You know, when your nose is running, you take something to stop it from running. That's probably, it could set you up for, you know, taking just a regular viral infection with a runny nose, you know, cold, to getting sinusitis, to blocking up your sinuses. So you want it to run. You want the body to get that stuff out. They kind of banned a lot of those decongestants that everybody was taking. So just sometimes it's better to let the body just, you know, naturally cure itself. You know, if it's out of control, then you take the medication. So don't just jump and take medication right away.
Good plan. So did you have a direction you wanted today's show? Because the first one was about over-the-counter medications. Last time it was treating wounds, right?
Well, the first one was over-the-counter medications. The second one, we were talking about, you know, the different types of equipment, instruments, and stuff to have on hand. And today we should talk about, I don't know, like how to treat minor things, like we're talking about. You know, let the body take care of a lot of it.
And get off on the rabbit trails that nobody knows where we're going to stop.
I like the rabbit trails.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Something that I want to create a better talk about, but and this is to me, it's a difficult thing to talk to your listeners about, but diet and what people are eating. You know that before 1900, they didn't even have anything in medical textbooks about a heart attack. Diabetes.
Really?
These were unheard of. Alzheimer's, different neurological disorders. These diseases did not exist in the human population until 1900s. And it's really, when you look at it, you can trace it back to diet and what was eaten back then and what we're eating today. It's fascinating, and I've been studying it a lot. I'm not ready to give I'll make a presentation about it, but I mean, humans were meant to be carnivores, eating meat. If you go back hundreds of thousands, millions of years, we were meat eaters, scavengers, eating meat, high fat, high protein diets. When agriculture was invented, that's when people started getting sick. And with today's agriculture, it's at an extreme. And all the sugar and fructose and wheat, all these things are just, the human body is not meant to live on that. And what doctors are finding now is if you put somebody on a ketogenic diet, a lot of these diseases are being cured. Like, there's no such thing as diabetes if you're on that diet. You can cure all sorts of autoimmune diseases. I mean, doctors are having like incredible results, and it goes against everything that we've been taught. And we've been taught to, you know, the food pyramid and to eat this mixed diet and all this stuff. Well, we got to look at, there's something the government, for some reason, and is telling you something. You got to think twice about it. What they're saying, and we're learning that in all sorts of aspects of our lives. But in medicine, Think about the industry, of pills. You get people sick. The doctor doesn't say, go on a protein fat diet. They say, here, take this pill for your diabetes. Here, take this insulin, and you're taking it for the rest of your life. You got cardiovascular disease. You're on this medicine, this medicine. The average person's on like 5 or 6 medications. After the age of 40.
Really? Is that's how much?
Oh yeah. I don't know the exact number. We can look it up, but it's a handful of medications, and it just goes up as you get older. But nobody's focused. Well, some people are now, but most doctors aren't focused on, treating the cause of this stuff. Here, take this pill. You don't have to change your diet. You have cardiovascular disease. Here, take this pill. It'll lower your cholesterol. And you just eat whatever you want. Well, it doesn't work. People are getting sick. Cholesterol. Actually, they found that cholesterol doesn't have any bearing whatsoever on cardiovascular disease. But of course, that's not nobody. Most doctors don't know that, and it's not being talked about. But if you just go online and look up something called the carnivore diet, which is basically just protein, fat, and water, and look at some of these videos and how the comments underneath, some with 100,000 comments, 200,000 comments of just random people saying, I did it and it cured this, it cured my back pain, it cured everything. Even like something like back pain, you wouldn't think that has any relation to diet, but there's something called visceral fat, and that's the fat that surrounds the organs. That fat, people didn't have it. Look at older pictures, 1900, early 1900s, the men, the women, they were all lean. Now just walk around and look around at everybody. Everybody's overweight, even kids, and you're supposed to be in great shape in your late teens. I challenge you to find a group of teenagers, 18, 19, early 20s on a college campus that are lean and that aren't overweight. And just imagine as they get older and now, you got the Kardashians and all these people, it's like, it's okay to be overweight. We want you to be overweight. Look at models today. They're all overweight because our government is trying to kill us. So
or they're men.
Think twice.
Or they're men posing as women.
Yeah, true. It's crazy. That one's obvious, but the subtle thing is the weight, but this visceral fat releases toxins into your body. And it causes all sorts of diseases we're a sick population. We're really sick. Our hospitals are overwhelmed. I was talking to a friend of mine whose wife had her second heart attack. She's in her 40s. She did get the vaccine, so it could be related to that. But
excuse me.
But she's pre-diabetic. She's overweight. And I know that if she went on this diet, she would get better. But most people won't do it because they've been taught, it's been so ingrained into us, eat lean meat. Don't eat the fat, cut the fat off, and, eat healthy. So eat salads and vegetables and fruits, natural stuff. That stuff is killing us too. The human body wasn't meant to eat that.
Something I've seen that seems to be a fairly common theme in archaeological digs is the cultures that seem to be some of the healthiest were the ones that ate a diet of almost exclusively fish.
That's meat. That's meat, and especially the fatty fish, right, Ralph? Like salmon and stuff, like the cold water fish. You look at, those populations that live in the Antarctic and, the north, where there isn't any grains and cereals and things like that. They do live a long, healthy life. So food is really important. And I think I should put together a presentation. I think it'll shock a lot of people, especially Donna, your listeners, because a lot of them have farms and all this stuff. But I would challenge anyone, that wants to talk about it to get a hold of me, but to try it. If you have some sort of autoimmune thing going on, from psoriasis to Crohn's, I mean, you literally can cure Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, arthritis, all these diseases where they just give you pills, steroids, things like that, just to, the job of the doctor is to calm the symptoms down, but not to cure it. It's something that we should all consider doing.
I think that the key point in that, though, is that we're not getting enough oils. And when all of the low-fat diet started, they started replacing the fats with sugar in the 70s. Yeah. And there seems to be a huge correlation with the low-fat stuff. And so, that seems to be the correlation right there. So I don't know if you know that, but both myself and Ralph are vegetarians. And so, pescatarians. So I'm sure
this is going to go against everything that you think is right. Vegetarians are usually very sick, especially ones that aren't eating, getting enough fats into them.
Yeah, the key for me with eating that way is I added fish back in, but I was vegan for about 5 years. And I did it for health reasons, and I had to, and it actually did help for what I was fighting. But I started adding back in dairy and fish, but I didn't eat any the grains or the sugars, and that I think that's a huge thing. But one thing when you do that is you've got to find a lot of sources for good, and I mean good oils. You can't just go grab vegetable oils off of the shelf because you're going to be really sick, because most of that's rancid.
Yeah. And a lot of it is also heavily omega-6 balanced rather than omega-3 balanced, where omega-6s are inflammatory. And so you got to be real careful with that, especially among a lot of the seed oils.
So that's coming from the
Ralph, you're right. You're right. The seed oils are killing people. Seed oils and sugar are killing people. They're killing our population, and they push it, and it's in everything. Any type of thing you buy in a box, just look at it. Soybean oil and canola oils and all these bad oils, and sucrose, fructose, glucose. And we can talk about the metabolism of it, with your mitochondria and stuff like that. And it'll be eye-awakening.
We were actually talking about the oils a couple of days ago, too, and when Monica was on. And one of the things that we talked about is I'm allergic to a lot of the oils. I've got some food allergy issues.
What happens when you take them? What kind of allergy do you get?
My throat swells shut and I can't swallow.
From oils. So that's called angioedema.
It's not just from oils; it's from all kinds of different stuff. But
Ralph,
oils
one second. Is it one side of your throat, or is it your whole throat? Are you talking about your soft palate where your uvula, the little punching bag, hangs down? Does that swell up?
No, it's I think it was eosinophilic esophagitis.
Oh, so it hurt when you swallowed, like you had a big lump in there or something?
Yeah. And so what I've found, though, is I'm not allergic to olives or to olive oil. And what I found is that most of the olive oil that you get, I'm allergic to it. And you go back and start looking into the supply chains of olive oil. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the olive plantations in Italy are owned by the mafia. And so what happens is it actually gets adulterated there with other oils, and then they mix in chlorophyll to recolor it so that it looks like olive oil. And they use oils that are of a similar smoke point, like soy oil. So you get it here, and of course the people selling it here, they buy it as 100% pure olive oil from Italy, And so they think it's fine. So they sell it as 100% pure olive oil from Italy. And
of course, our government doesn't bother to check any of it to see if it's actually true. 100%.
Which was the original purpose of the FDA, was as a trade enforcement organization, not as a regulatory body for all things health.
Yeah.
But what I found is that there are a few brands that are actually safe for me to have, but there's an awful lot of them that are clearly adulterated. And so to a certain extent, I kind of consider the food allergies to be somewhat of a superpower, because it's like I act as kind of a contamination detector for whether or not things are actually
good. Hire you to do shots of olive oil all day coming into the country.
Yeah. And, that's something that you could actually do that way, and it would be a lot, probably a lot easier than doing genetic testing on it.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, and you just wonder, what kind of contaminants are in everything that we're eating. Like, I just don't trust any of these companies. Look what they've done. They've donated money to BLM to try and overthrow our country. They're donating money to all these NGOs to invade our country, to pay for that, and cheating in our elections. And you expect them to write the right stuff down on the ingredient list? Or 100% of whatever they're telling us. It's like, come on. They're above the law. They can do whatever they want.
I've had problems before with strawberries and blueberries. I'm not allergic to either strawberries or blueberries, but I've had issues where I've had allergic reactions to them.
That's common.
Nothing on the ingredient list, and organic. And
how about nuts? Can you eat peanuts?
I can have a couple of the nuts, but most of the nuts I can't have.
How about shellfish?
I have some issues with shellfish that seem to be unrelated to allergies. It's a different reaction.
What is it? Upset stomach or something, or?
No, it's more of like vascular issues. But the food allergies are interesting because I got a blood test for it. My doctor ran a blood test, and sure enough, I've got antibodies to a ton of different types of food.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that more people should get that blood test done, because it was probably about 90% accurate for me. And it's cheap, it's easy, and I think it would be really eye-opening for people to see how allergic they are to a lot of things. And I think a lot of it comes down to the GMOs, not for the GMO's sake, but because it allows them to spray stuff like glyphosate onto the fields.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what they do with their wheat, is that they spray the wheat right before it's harvested with the herbicide. Have you heard too? So like, I'm going to go there, guys, because there's a lot of discussion on the whole transgender stuff. Did you see that video recently where this dad he packed his lunch for his daughter and had his daughter take home what she was being fed in the school cafeteria? So he took that for like 7 days. He said, don't eat it, just take the food, packages it up, and bring it home. He took that and sent that in to be tested, and it was off the charts toxic because of atrazine in the food, which he said is basically a gender bending drug. Now we wonder why we're so confused at this point in time. When they started no-till, do you remember when they started no-till procedures in like the 80s? It was like late 70s. They started doing like no-till. And so what they would just do is that the farmers, they don't till their crops. They just go in there and they just hit it with atrazine and kill everything, right? So now think about how much atrazine is in the water, you go out in the farm fields, there's so much of these corporate farms that you can't get away from it. So people, you need to grow your own food on your own land that you haven't poisoned or find somebody who has, because they're saying an atrazine is a gender bending drug.
Well, it certainly is a problem. Soy also, but to me, all those things, account for something, but it's mainly our media, pushing all this stuff, and in the school systems, and getting people thinking that way, these kids, right from the start.
Well, there's that recent study that shows that most kids grow out of it. There's a big surprise.
Yeah. It's just another way of confusing and dividing the public and creating, chaos in America, because they want to take this country down.
Yeah, what are you going to do if you have a kid that wants to be a pirate? You're going to poke an eye out and chop a leg off and give him a peg leg? I mean, kids, I want to be a fire engine when I grow up. Okay. So, let's hardwire some lights on your head and you can run around carrying like a 200-pound ladder on your back. All of this stuff is so stupid. It defies description. Children have all of these imaginations going on, and they're exploring and they're learning how the world works and such. It's not, what are you going to do? I want to be a dinosaur. Okay, how are you going to make that happen? Are we going to put Stegosaurus plates to their back?
Well, it's in our public educational system condones this stuff. I mean, if my wife was a teacher till recently, and some kid thought they were a cat. And they got to sit on the floor in a little litter box thing, while
your wife had that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the school system promotes all this stuff, and they're all 100% behind it. Let the kid, whatever they think, let them do it.
Man, pull these kids out of these insane asylums that they're calling public education.
Yeah,
if teachers bear some responsibility to this, I'm sorry if it affects what you went to school for. I'm sorry that, you as a doctor were told to give the clot shot or whatever. I'm sorry. It doesn't excuse not walking away when some of this stuff is happening. And if enough people just walked away, this thing would be done.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially now, doctors are pushing that stuff. There's enough information out there. They can't claim ignorance anymore.
No, I don't think they ever could. And even, if you harm somebody, ignorance isn't an excuse.
No, not at all.
No. And, you listen to so many people, it was really all about the money. They did it because their jobs and their education. It says, well, what if your education's wrong? What do you have to say? You know what? I did the wrong thing, and walk away from something that you didn't know that was wrong. Maybe you need to make a change. Maybe we need to stop being based on just money and what we have, and based on doing the right thing and being okay with that.
It is a truly heroic
what would
action.
You recommend?
What's that?
To walk away. Yeah, absolutely. What would you recommend, Donna, for the future to not have this happen again? Assuming we are ever in a point that we could recreate the United States, and how would we do it so it doesn't? Because money is the root of all of it.
It sure is. Well, right. There's a lot of things that we could do. First of all these big corporations need to be just abolished and no more. And we actually have the laws in place to do that. If we got one person up there that had the guts to do it and was willing to go in, I absolutely think if we had one honest governor in place, which we don't, Donna Brandenburg's plan was to fire the entire lot of them, because the governor has the right to remove every single person from the government except for the legislature. And these guys committed treason. So that was a chip shot to Gitmo. That's what I said to General Flynn. I said, I need some planes. If I get in here, I need some planes to run these people out of town and get them down to Gitmo. And you try them for treason down there. Or, not General Flynn, but the military tries them for treason. That's what needs to happen, because every single one of them committed treason. So that actually would have been a chip shot. And then first off, you pause all taxes and tell everybody, hey, we're going to take a pause here that's what I would have done as a CEO. And I've done it. I have literally fired every single person in a company and said, we're done.
Yeah.
I'm not, when I saw some stuff happen that put people in danger, and they knew what they were doing, I literally leveled it. And then went to every single person that was, clientele, and said, this is what we're doing. A lot of control on it, but I saw something that puts you in danger, and I'm not going to be okay with this. So, I mean, you start
How
there.
about banning all the NGOs and investigating them, and banning all money going to candidates, you know, from corporations and companies and stuff.
I would abolish all the political parties, and because they have all been involved in dark money funds and no transparency with people. I would publish the books of every single dollar coming into this state and where they go, not just the overall budget, because that's one of the ways that they mislead people. They talk budget. You know what? Budget doesn't matter. The budget is because they don't pay attention to it anyway. Right. So why are we talking budget? It's irrelevant. Right. And a governor can look at the budget and say, that's great. You got a great budget, but I'm not going to spend any money there.
Yep.
I don't care if you got the budget and you approved the budget and you manipulated the budget. I'm not going to send any money there because I see something wrong. And then, you know, it's like Byron Center. Byron Township had a $30 million overage in a population of 14,000 people. $30 million overage.
Where did that go?
I don't know. But you tell me why, if you have an overage in a township or in the state, look at this $37 billion in revenue and $96 billion in revenue to the NGOs in Michigan.
Yeah.
Do you know what we could do if we clawed that back from these money laundering bastards and gave it to the people of the state and the businesses that are owned, actual businesses, small businesses, not corporations? That money is coming from the corporations into these NGOs to money launder.
And the government. The government also donates to those things too.
You bet they do. And the PACs that the politicians are involved in. It's all one great big scheme. Yeah. And so, you know, that there's all kinds of things that would have ended abruptly. I keep telling everybody, I would have been like, start timing me.
That would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing. And the problem is that I got so censored and silenced, and you know, and they tried to knock me out. In fact, there was an admission from a person that I know of that said that we tried to get rid of Donna Brandenburg twice.
Yeah.
And she kept coming back. And that was from somebody funding the Republican Party.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, and so the people that are in there, that I would say walk away. People that are in the Republican Party right now, they're still trying to divide it. We've got 3 factions in there. They will not get together. The people that are in there are nothing more than puppets funded by the DeVosses and everybody else. Amway, the Van Andels, I can pull up the 20. You want to see who the 22 oligarch families are in Michigan? Yeah. I can pull it up. I posted it before. See if they'll pull it up, because I've actually posted this before. It'd take me a minute to find it, so I'm using mechanical means to find it. But they lay it right out there. Heisinga's in it, and we'll see. It's chewing on it, but it's like, oh, won't find it. I'd have to look around a little bit. But yeah, they're all guilty. They're all guilty about this. And let's see, influential definitive list. I actually did a screenshot that I posted on it, and the names. Hang on a minute, we'll find out.
Well, you're looking for that. I think another thing too that is affecting some of the madness that we're seeing is the endocrine disruptors, because there's an awful lot of those anymore in tap water. There's a fair amount of them showing up in groundwater now. And we've got, look around you at how many things around you are plastic. Yeah. There's endocrine disruptors in just about everything plastic that you interact with, whether it's the plasticizers to make things flexible, which are generally, this is going to be in general terms, but generally if you've got a plastic that has flexibility things added to it, it's a pseudoestrogen. Mm-hmm. And if you've got a plastic that is a hard plastic and they've added hardeners to it, it's a pseudoandrogen. And so it's not just something where, it's all just, pseudoestrogens. No, it's affecting both sexes.
Yeah. That stuff is everywhere too. Yeah, and
Yep.
the drinking water out of the faucet is just, it's full of chemicals. They can't get it
Poisonous.
out, by regular water treatment facilities. They just can't get that stuff out. It's for, what do they call it? Forever chemicals,
Yeah, the PFAS
including,
one.
including
The PFAS one.
medications. But I distill all my water. We
Oh, that's
just
a great
dear.
idea.
we have a distiller. It does about a gallon and a half. You just pour the tap water. We have a well, but pour the water into it, and it distills it. And if you distill the water, there's nothing in it. It's just pure water.
Nice.
Do you make
I'm-
whiskey with it too, or ethanol?
I can figure that out. Yeah.
I've got reverse osmosis on city water, and it's amazing how much stuff, how much crud that reverse osmosis filter, and really even just the pre-filters that filter out particulates.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much those things pull out of the tap water. I mean, you'll get like flecks of black that are on the particulate filters, even on the input side of the reverse osmosis filter.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of incredible.
It is.
And even that isn't perfect. I mean, distillation gets rid of a whole heck of a lot more than reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis, you still got a lot of plastic involved in most of that, and the filter cartridges and the piping, all of that kind of stuff.
Ralph, look into getting a distiller, a water distiller. That's like $60-$70, and it just,
On Amazon?
yeah.
Where you get it? Okay.
And you can taste the difference in the water. Pure
Yeah,
water.
Tom's
We don't even know what pure water is.
backstage right now. So good morning, good morning, Tom. I'll bring you out in a minute. We're gonna.
What's the brand of yours?
Let me check. I'll check. It works great. Hold on one second.
All right, let's see. I got to think about where to find this at Oligarch Families because I've got them. I just got to. I got to think where I put that. I'll bring it back on later. I'm going to read something from the chat just real quick here. Pedo Island to sponsor human trafficking. Princeboro Blackwater scandal starting to make waves in the media. He's to project himself as a good guy. I don't know. I kind of like what I'm pretty sure that Betsy and Eric probably aren't having Christmas together at this point in time, but who knows? Political ghost psyops like Mike Johnson. I think Mike Johnson was threatened. That's what I think happened there, but I don't know. I wasn't involved in that. Camp Geneva is a Christian camp. Yeah, I don't believe anybody that comes with a title because there's a difference between believers in Christ and people who just are wolves in sheep's clothing that use the title for political gain. Nonprofit NGO cults, all kinds of NGO profits. No wonder we have some of the highest taxes in the country. Don't get fooled by the lobbyist cults and their money, right? And the highest paying board of education, higher paying jobs for teachers. CPS, 90% of children being trafficked through the de facto agency. CPS needs to be abolished. And those people need to go. They need to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. They are the largest human trafficker on the planet, and they get paid $1 million per kid for taking kids out of good families, like what we're going to be talking. Did you know that that's how much they're getting paid? I hate these people. They're absolutely, and I think this goes back with that money flow. These wide-eyed social work people, social justice warriors get out of our indoctrination camps called colleges and decide that they're going to go in there and change the world. And all they do is they wage war against families so that they can have a name stamped on the resume. You're despicable. And, anybody that's out there that's doing it, it's like you better turn around and start protecting these kids, or I can guarantee you that God is going to see anyone that participates in this as a co-conspirator, and I don't mean conspiracy theorist, but a co-conspirator of the human trafficking networks that are going on in this nation. You're going to go down with a millstone, he promises, for anyone that touches these kids. And I don't care if you sit behind a desk like a coward and let somebody else do the dirty work. They're all involved. There, I said it. And I've said it before anyway, but that's the reality. And it's like any of these little social justice warrior social workers, they're complicit in this.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interaction with one of them. You want to know what happened? they actually called here because somebody in our family was alleging that that a kid was in jeopardy and blah blah blah. The mom and was lying her tail off. So social worker called me and I said, to get my opinion on it. And I said, I'm glad you called me, and now you're going to listen until I'm done talking. I kept her on the phone for over 45 minutes. And I said, don't tell me you care, because I know you don't care. And I'm like, and this is exactly, because I said, if you knew what was going on here, this mom was squirting Dawn dish detergent in this kid's mouth. So I said, please call me in and put me on the stand, because I would love to testify in this thing, because you guys are only interested in breaking up families and finding something that you can stamp your name on and feel good about being, the savior of the planet, when in fact you're working with the human trafficking networks to destroy families and these kids. She sat there pretty quiet. She never said anything. And I was like, 45 minutes. I said, yeah, just go ahead and subpoena me. I said, put me on the stand. I would love it. Please put me on the stand. And
they won't.
No, of course she did. She ran with her tail between her legs. But, there's not enough people that'll go at them like that. Instead, they're afraid of them. And you know what? They come after you. You just go ahead and tell them CPS is human trafficking. And would you like the sources on this? I can give you the sources. Let's go ahead and put me on the stand. And we're going to talk about your complicity in this, not just what's said out there,
Yeah.
But
look up Welcoming America and see if your city or county is part of Welcoming, it's called.
Really? What is it?
The NGOs that are smuggling these kids and bringing in illegals into our country.
Okay, we're going to put it out there here.
Ask your county or go to your city meetings and ask them, what are we doing with these people? Why are we part of this? Why are we certified by Welcoming America?
Well, it's just like the Albert sensors that are out there, like rigging the elections, that they're spying on the counties. It's like these counties, all these governments are they're all involved in this. And you know what? I might bring Tom on a little bit early, because I told him, I said, you got friends here. And I said, you can say anything you want on Brandenburg News Network, because if you haven't said it, I probably already have said it, So in here, here's Welcoming America. So there you go.
Yeah, look and see what involvement your city or county has with this thing. This is one of those NGOs that are clearly trying to take down America.
Takes a village, doesn't it? To Hillary Clinton, she's famous for that. Child trafficking Hillary Clinton, who went into Haiti, and it was Laura Silsby and the human trafficking there, and the Clinton Foundation and all these foundations. Look at this, all these do-gooders that are out there. How do you think they got in it? And it's like you go in behind the scenes and you start looking at their cyber footprint. Mm-hmm. Who's funding them? The people that are trafficking the freaking kids, guys. But they sure know all the great words, it's amazing. So there you go. There's another one to chase down and throw out there. Let's see what they do. I'm going to bring Tom in right now. We're just going to, do you guys mind if I do that?
No.
Since I didn't plan the segue. Honestly, I didn't even plan this. I was expecting off the grid first date and such, but that's okay. We're going to go on right now. Morning, Tom. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, y'all. How are you?
I'm great. I'm going to give a little background here. Tom was a J6'er who was incarcerated as a political prisoner in the United States of America by Pelosi, Schumer, their guard within the Capitol Police, and all these people that colluded to defraud the rightful president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, of his seat. And they did it while he was a seated president. This wasn't after it. He was still a seated president when this happened. And these people were not prosecuted. They were not lawfully arrested. Troy Smocks was kidnapped from Texas, who's suing for over $260 million of federal government under kidnapping charges. All of these people were unlawfully detained and thrown in the gulag, and Tom was one of them. And then I'm gonna throw this out here, Tom. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but your wife, you have an autistic daughter, and your wife took her to a concert. And I have a mentally ill, very, very mentally ill daughter. So I understand what happens when you take them out in public. People always want to blame the family because they don't understand mental illness or autism or any of that, because they look normal. So this kid must have been abused. No, sometimes, if you see somebody with that's like an amputee, arms gone, your mind registered that there's something wrong. When something is not right in the brain, we do not register this. And then we start blaming the people around them, because that's what the criminal cabal has done to set up to, in fact, victimize these kids and families and take them away. And I got a question, because something came up when I was researching this a little bit. You guys, your wife and your daughter, Lilyana, was in a concert in a bar, like one of the country bar types venues down there. Is that correct?
They were in downtown Nashville, Tennessee at Miranda Lambert's.
Okay, so with that said, and we know most of these performers have been compromised and such, but regardless of that, I want you to think about this. In a scenario like that, they could have sprinkled something on her skin, because you're a J6'er. I would have to say it's highly plausible that they were targeted, because if they sprinkle something on the skin that could trigger an episode, because look at how quickly this went and how they grabbed Lilyana and such, and how they targeted your family. I'm going to say right now, I'm really wondering if they did something to trigger an episode on her in that scenario, because it's very, very possible. But regardless, they pick up Lilyana and throw your wife in jail, and all of a sudden your daughter is in by CPS, the crime syndicate arm of bastards that grab kids out of families, throw her into the other part of the crime syndicate, foster care in Tennessee, and she's been in there for 2 years.
16 months. 16 months.
Tell us what happened here. That's my grasp on what I understand of this. It's despicable, and I am so sorry. And I'm like, on behalf of America, I am so sorry for what happened to you and your family. So tell us what happened and what's been going on with Lilyana.
We drank the water. There's something that's going on that a lot of us don't realize. And, you guys really were talking about, filtering the water. There's a lot of poisons in our foods and our waters. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what led up to this, but we're a blended family. Lilyana is my stepdaughter. I've been dad for going on 11, almost 12 years now. Her dad is non-existent in her life for the most part, unless mom or her reach out to him. So she's got abandonment issues on top of, her mental health illness. And, I was arrested. So here's what happened is in November of 2021, I was arrested just within an hour and a half or so of taking and dropping her and my son off at school. I have a 6-year-old he's still in bed. Today's his day off. He's got a 3-day weekend. But, Lily came home from school on November 9th, 2021 to just mom and her brothers. No dad. Dad's gone. Dad's in jail. So abandonment, once again, the family breakdown. She didn't realize until right then that, how much of a father figure I really, was in her life. So we fast forward, I'm going through all of this. Mom starts taking Lilyana to Christian events, church, concerts, really trying to plug Jesus into her heart. She really is receptive to stuff like that. Like, she responds positively to positive, input. She loves to bake. She loves to draw. She loves to read. She loves to sing. She loves to dance. She's really just a wonderful little girl. But she has these episodes that can get pretty out of control. And that's what happened in February 2023 is they were in Nashville, Tennessee at the Winter Jam Christian concert tour. And everything was going really good. So they decided that, after the event, the following day, they were going to go down. They did a Build-A-Bear for her little brother, Ben. We had a nanny out here that was taking care of him. And so mom and daughter were having a good time. And in Nashville, Tennessee, downtown Nashville, if anybody's ever been there, there's a lot of stores, restaurants, and and I think I was there earlier this year, and I don't remember seeing any restaurant that didn't have a bar in it, but I also didn't.
It's a culture.
Yeah, I didn't see any families with kids avoiding those places because that's just downtown Nashville during the daytime. Now at a certain hour, it's adults only. There's no more children. They don't want children in there after a certain time. Understood. I think that's probably valid in just about all of America. I mean, I grew up in a small town, and after a certain hour, the kids weren't allowed in the bar setting, but when you have a restaurant in there and a bar and you have live music, which is just about every establishment in downtown Nashville, families go in there. That's what you do. You go into a store, you buy some souvenirs, you get some cowboy boots, you buy a shirt, you go into a restaurant / bar, and you have a meal that's, it's not always all that great, but it's a meal. You get some entertainment, you experience the whole culture, it's a vacation. It's an event. It's something to make memorable. So at Miranda Lambert's, my daughter, she likes to get playful with mom. They have a really great relationship. My wife is a non-violent person. She does not believe in physical discipline. She believes in understanding what's going on and timeouts or restricted from certain things as punishment. So she's not somebody that has ever spanked or hit any of her children.
How old is your daughter? Sorry to interrupt.
She's 14 now. She was 13 when this happened, and that's her behind me in the picture with her mom.
Okay.
So they're at Miranda Lambert's, and my daughter gets a little bit too playful with mom and causes mom to fall off of the seat that she's sitting in. And the management comes over and believes that alcohol is involved, and that's why this happened. And so they ask my wife and daughter to leave. This is a situation that will, hey, will you let the dogs outside? And actually, we just let them out of their pen. And so this is a situation where now my daughter is feeling singled out, embarrassed. Just let them out in the house. Is feeling singled out and embarrassed. And a lot of times this will create that elevated crisis mode that we've done this for 7 years in the state of Colorado. We have a case file where she's made allegations of things happening in the house that are unfounded, untrue. And they've come out and they've sat right here in this couch in front of me and interviewed us and investigated us three or four times already since we've lived here. And everything is always unfounded. They come to the conclusion that she's in a structured household with all the love that she could possibly get, and this is the best place for her to become a successful citizen for society. Her future is paved with the love of her parents here in this household. But this day, things didn't work out the way that they would have here in Colorado. We've had the police bring Lily home from when she's run away. We've had the police show up when she's been out of control. Lily herself has asked to be checked into one of 2 or 3 facilities that are here in the Colorado Springs area so that she can decompress, because she understands the elevation. And a lot of times when her and mom are together and this happens, it's hard to de-escalate it because she's upset with mom, but mom can't really leave her to be because she's an adolescent. She's 12 years old. She's 11 years old. She's 13 years old at this point. But somebody might intervene. Now, we've never had anybody intervene except for this one time in Nashville, Tennessee. A couple people ran over and separated my wife and daughter because they thought, and I don't fault these 2 individuals for this. They thought that somebody was in high distress, that something bad was happening, and that they needed assistance. And so they did what I would have done the same thing. I would have ran over and tried to separate and figure out what was going on with the situation. Well, they involved the police. Great. That means that the police are going to show up. They're going to investigate the situation, and they're going to iron everything out. And Lilyana and mom are going to be put back together. Everything's going to be great. That's not what happens in this situation. The police, my wife is not allowed to approach my daughter because of these two individuals. She decides that she's going to distance herself. So she goes to the car, the rental car that they had, and she pulls up. Hey, will you get the door, please? And she pulls up to where Lilyana is with these ladies, and she asks Lilyana to get in the car, and Lily's refusing to do this, and the ladies are insisting that Lily stay with them because they feel that she's endangered. So at this point, mom's like, "All right, I'm going to distance myself to where Lily can't see me. These ladies can't see me. The police are on their way. Everything's going to get sorted out. My Airbnb's 5 minutes up the road. I'm going to go ahead and get to the Airbnb and wait to see what happens." It's okay, buddy. 20 minutes rolls by, and she starts to wonder, where are the police? Where is my daughter? My daughter has the address. My daughter has my number. Nobody's contacted me, so she calls 911. Hold on one second. What do you need, buddy? There's nobody at the door. There's probably a package.
No, I want to know.
Somebody's at the door? Okay,
Hi.
guess who it is?
Good morning.
Okay.
Who's that?
This is my son, Ben.
Hey,
This
Ben,
is
how are you?
Say hi.
Good morning, Ben.
Hey,
How are
Hi.
you, buddy?
good.
Hey, you got some great epic hair there going on. All the curls.
Thank you.
You can get
Yeah,
over
you're welcome. You're welcome. It looks like you're helping Dad today.
Yeah, he's got a 3-day weekend right now, don't you?
Ooh, how fun is that?
Oh, yeah, he's excited.
That's cool. That's cool.
Hello.
Those guys are
Thanks
crazy.
for saying hi, buddy.
Okay,
So, yeah.
sorry, but I think I'm gonna have to duck out here.
All right, thanks, Ralph. We'll
Thanks,
talk
Ralph.
later, buddy.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye, Ralph. So,
Okay.
this episode happens, and, Steph goes to the house. She calls 911. The police answer. She explains the whole situation. They understand who she is now and what this is about, and they tell her that they actually need to talk with her. And so they send officers to the address that she gave them. Hey, will you open the door, please? When the officers arrive, they question my wife. My wife explains the whole situation. The young officer that she spoke with felt that there was no issues and that this could be easily resolved. So
Busy family.
yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. If you need to take care of something, you can go ahead and do that if you need to. And there's no pressure here. This is real news for real people, by real people at the kitchen table. It's okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Who was it?
I love this. All of us who have had kids, my kids are all in their 30s now. And it's a great chaotic time of life. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's we always have a lot going on at this household. So anyhow, the police show up. They decide that, buddy, stop that. Stop it. So they decide that there was nothing to arrest her on, but the deputy calls his sergeant, and the sergeant feels otherwise. And so they put my wife in cuffs and they take her to jail. And so my daughter ends up going to CPS in Tennessee. And that's how this whole story starts, is just on that day. My wife bails out. It says in the Tennessee state policy that a non-resident in a situation like this, the case should be transferred within 30 days to the resident state. That hasn't happened. It's May of 2024, and this happened in February of 2023. So they dropped the charges. A month or two down the road, they end up dropping the charges finally. They still don't return our daughter. In the meantime, our daughter's bouncing from foster home to foster home. She's experiencing all kinds of different abuses and neglect. She finally finds herself at the last stop, and the lady the lady says that she doesn't feel that she can take care of our daughter, and that she needs a different type of care. So they put her in a level 4 residential facility, which is, you might as well just put my daughter in a jail. That's basically what it is. Stop it, buddy, stop. I'm dog sitting. So one of the people that has been trying to help us, I'm dog sitting, and this dog is like 20 times bigger than my little dog. So it's a little crazy right now. Anyhow, she has the charges dropped, and you would think that at this point it's time to give Lily back to her family. No. It's more delays, more moving the goalposts as far as the court goes. We dumped $70,000 into an attorney who doesn't move the needle, doesn't file any motions, just shows up and I don't know what she really did, but we never got any real answers to what was going on. And so my wife fired the attorney, and she started researching the hey, do me a favor, get Buddy and get him into the bathroom and lock the door for a second. Hold on one second. Come here, buddy.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, it just gets worse and worse, and it's just like as parents of young kids, you're juggling a lot of stuff all at the same time. And you know what? I give all parents so much credit for taking care of kids and their dogs and their lives and all of this sort of thing. And they have conditioned the United States of America to just be critical of what other people are doing in a situation, and it's wrong. It is wrong. And so, you put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Until you walk in somebody else's shoes, you don't have the right to criticize. And we should really be there to support each other. So please continue.
So fire the attorney, but it's up to the judge to allow that to happen. It's actually a magistrate. So the magistrate drags his feet for 3 months.
Because he's in on it.
Of course.
He is. It's unbelievable. So go ahead. You can have that for breakfast. So my wife jumps into, she fires the attorney, and she decides that she's going to dive into understanding the laws, the statutes, constitution, the codes, the policies, the regulations, everything from the federal side of things to the state to the facility and the agencies. And she spends I've seen her up all night long, and the next day I've seen her do 36 hours straight of research in order to educate herself so that she can fight for our daughter. And she uncovered, all the bond issues, what really goes on in court when you do reply with "you understand," and how the verbiage in the court system actually results in some type of contracting. And so she's researched all this, and she researched all the policies that the agencies have to follow, the facilities have to follow, and she found violation after violation after violation. Violations that should be pursued criminally and civilly. And once we get Lilyana back, that's what we plan on doing.
Good.
For 3 months, the magistrate drug his feet and would not let her counsel go. And so, finally, Steffany at this point now has enough information that she can be dangerous in court, and she can really hold people accountable. And she understands affidavits, and she understands putting people on notice. And she also understands that she needs to not file any motions, because that's just entering into another contract with the court. Mm-hmm. So she does all this research, and she starts fighting for Lilyana. And finally, the judge releases her attorney. And a couple months go by. So, she fires the attorney in September. It was probably January or February of this year that they finally approved, the judge finally approved the motion, and her counsel was let go. And now she's in the driver's seat. And she gets into court and she gets her time and she asks her questions, and they continuously shut her down and tell her that this isn't the appropriate place or that question doesn't matter. She wants to know, what judgment's finalized, what one isn't. She's asking all the right questions, but they don't want to give her any of the answers. And so, again, we've drugged this on to April is one of the last court hearings, the 11th and the 19th, I believe it was, where we were in. So Magistrate Will Hoyt was on the line, and the Magistrate Candia Ramsey from Colorado. Well, we had a Zoom hearing. So Colorado courts involved, Tennessee courts involved, mom and all the state agencies and people and players are involved. The Court of Tennessee wants the court in Colorado to take jurisdiction, but there's no crime in Colorado that would warrant them to be able to create a jurisdiction. And they're not willing to say there's a crime because there isn't one. However, my wife chimes in and she holds up this paperwork and she says, I have the paperwork that needs to be filled out so that you can transfer jurisdiction. So Lilyana can come back here. Well, they didn't like that, and they shut her down, saying that that's not what this is about today. And
no, it's about kidnapping your daughter is what it is.
Right. So another week goes by, and we're just after the 19th of April. We're in the last week of April. And my wife gets a hold of my daughter, and she finds out that they're on their way to a birth control center. And my wife's all, why are you going to a birth control center? You're 14 years old. Well, they're going to put Nexplanon in my daughter's arm, and look who's calling right now.
Call from.
My wife is calling from jail right now.
An incarcerated individual at St. Louis County Jail.
You want to put her on? Put her on. She can talk.
I'm going to put her on because she can do this.
God has got a great, amazing way to have things happen like that.
Hi.
I was at court.
And?
Oh, it was really bad. They took me out of the court where they were pissed.
Wow.
Let her know that she's on. Let her know that she's live on camera.
You're on live right now with Donna Brandenburg.
Hi, Steffany. How are you? I'm so sorry, honey. I've been listening to your story, and it's horrible.
Sorry, I can't. It's hard for me to hear. I'm not going to be able to hear her at all, man. I'm in the main room.
Okay.
You'll have to tell me what you were saying.
Okay. I'll have to repeat what you're saying. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. This is what we do here.
So you don't go up to the podium. You walk up to the judge's bench. And I'm like, why am I? So they got mad because I do not stand. I do not rise when they say I'll rise because that puts you in their jurisdiction. Okay? If you're not stand when the judge says stand. And so they were already mad at me, all the jail, gurus. I'm like, oh my God, gorillas. And then when I had to go up to approach the judge's bench, when this was supposed to be my hearing, this is a Rainier hearing. Is this not on record? Why am I approaching the bench and I'm not at the podium? That was strange. And so I questioned that. They didn't like that. And then, of course, he's like, oh, you can waive your right in this and that extradition. And I said, Your Honor, I'm here under special appearance representing a third-party interest in the case. I stand under the laws of God. I do not understand the nature of the cause against me. There is no injured party. I said, I motion to dismiss based on file of the court. And they the judge didn't even answer. All the goons called me out, like drag me out.
They drug you out of the courtroom.
They drug me out of the courtroom because I said against the judge. And the judge didn't even reply. And I didn't get contempt or anything. They stuck me in the hole.
So they put you in solitary confinement.
They put me in solitary confinement because I stood as jurist and I wanted to know the nature of the cause against me. And I said, you have no authority over me. I stand under the laws of God. God is the supreme law. God's law is the supreme law of the land. So I just need you to, I don't understand. Explain the nature of the cause against me. There is no injured party, right? So that's all I said. They were so mad.
Who is that judge?
Who is the judge?
I believe it was Barnes.
Judge Barnes.
Shame on them.
Yep. I think it's Boyne. First name B-O-Y-N-E. It's either Boyne A. Barnes or Boyne J. Barnes, I think. White male.
Okay. So she's currently in St. Louis County Jail in Clayton, Missouri.
Clayton County Jail.
Clayton
Clayton County Jail in St. Louis, Missouri.
Clayton County Jail in St. Louis, Missouri. She was attempting to bring our daughter back to Colorado from Tennessee because as a mother, you can only tolerate so much abuse to see happen to your child. And Donna, if you check your email, I sent you an email with some pictures of the
I
cell.
have them. This is what happened to their daughter in custody, people. This is what CPS is capable of.
Oh my.
And it gets worse. I'm gonna keep going back to this.
Yeah. And she could not do that to herself. That was done by somebody.
Yeah, you bet it was.
Altercation, staff. We don't know. I shared the pictures of the scars and abuse that Lily's gone through.
It gets worse. I'm going to save the worst one for last here, guys, because we need to put this out here. And that judge was part of it. The judges are part of it. We know that there's actually judges and doctors that are involved in this to hide this stuff.
Yeah.
And we know that. Not all doctors are bad. Dr. Kent's a good guy. I know him. We're friends. but we know that this stuff. Now check this out, David. You're going to be furious over this when you see this.
I already am. Oh
That's my daughter's upper thigh, from self-harm. So if she's so protected in these facilities, how was she allowed to get something sharp enough to cut her leg that badly that required that many stitches?
Yeah, that's just absolutely horrible. And has she done anything like that, self-mutilation or anything in the past?
Not in our house.
So this is a very traumatic situation.
How much self-harm and mutilation? She's never done that at our house.
Yeah, that's very concerning.
The worst that she was doing back then was tying things around her neck for a few seconds at a time, and we would have it handled immediately.
Yeah, she said that the worst thing when Lily was here she would put things around her neck, and act as if she was strangling herself from time to time was the worst thing that happened here. But this is from the mental stress and anguish caused by these facilities to where she doesn't feel that she's worthy or has any value. And this is what people do to themselves when they feel this way. And it's not because she's so loved at these places by these people. No. It's because they portray hatred, they portray doubt, they portray everything negative that you don't want your child to experience.
She's decompensating big time in that situation. You got to get her out of there.
Yeah.
Did you ask your congressman and get them involved?
So nobody has wanted to touch it until right now that my wife has been arrested for trying to bring our daughter out of that harmful situation back to our home in Colorado where she can get all the love and care that she needs.
Have you gone to the news?
This is it right here, because they won't listen to people that have real stories.
Those pictures, though,
they wouldn't even show my wife the warrant for her arrest. They didn't read her Miranda rights. They kept her in solitaire all day yesterday until she finally gave up her wedding ring, to put in property. They don't have a certified custody order to have our child. This is all based on temporary custody. 16 months of temporary custody.
And they refuse to give it back to your state.
Well, that's the violation of the UCCJEA stat. Yeah. Yeah. So that UCCJEA is what they've violated, because that states that, I actually have that right here in front of me. The Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act gives home state jurisdiction priority. Where does she live?
Colorado.
Yeah. You know, Tom,
That means that we have priority.
you got to find a lawyer to file a federal lawsuit against.
Well, that's what we're working on with a couple of the other people that have stepped up, like Donna has, to help us find those people, because we've spent, between my case and this case, we've probably spent close to $200,000 of our hard-earned money.
Well, you're going to get it back in this lawsuit.
We're at the point now where we're going to have to possibly sell our rental property in order to pay off the rest of the mortgage we had on it, and then use whatever's left over to finance as much of this fight as we can.
This is a disgrace. This is so disgraceful for America, and shame on everyone in Tennessee who is involved in human trafficking. You know, you were saying that they were taking your daughter, 14 years old, to have birth control, that permanent birth control situation. Why would they be doing that? And I hate to say this, and this is a hard thing to say, but why would they be doing this? And I'm sure you've come to terms with this, unless they haven't been trafficking her.
Exactly. They lost our daughter for a period of time, but because my wife was living in Tennessee at the time when this first started, she went ballistic in contacting every single person she could possibly get in contact with until she located our daughter. How do you lose a child? How does CPS lose a child?
Well, they lose 850,000 of them a year. They're losing 850,000 kids. And you know where they are? They're with these psycho pedophiles that are within our government and that they play ball with.
Exactly. And in our daughter, she's a very pretty girl. She takes after her mom. And why wouldn't they want to traffic somebody that looked like that? Because that's big money.
I'm so sorry. So I'm just going to tell everybody out there, if you need to jump on this and share this information with everyone you know, because you know what? The mainstream media isn't going to do it. So guess what, guys? We are the news. The people that have the guts to say these things that they're trying to hide. This is 16 months of hell this family has gone through as CPS, Homeland Security, has kidnapped their daughter. This is horrible.
Yeah. And so, I know that our legal fees are going to be extremely high. We're going to do everything we can to finance ourselves, but I will ask that you put out our givesendgo.com/Patriots fight that I just sent you. If there's anybody that feels led to help us in our fight, we would really appreciate that. However, we do know that there's other fights out there that people want to fund, and we want to encourage you to follow your heart.
Did you email that to me?
I put it in the comments in the private chat.
The comments. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. So we need to do this, but you know what we really need to do is we need some connections to people in Tennessee that can.
I love you, Pumpkin.
Yeah, we need to get these people in front of.
Baby. No, I got 15 more minutes.
Oh, you got as much time as you want. I own this thing, so I just keep the camera on.
They'll talk right now. I'm going to take a second off.
Okay. So here's the Give, Send, Go, guys, and here I'm going to go ahead and just mute it so he can talk to his wife, who just called from being incarcerated in Missouri. This is such a horrible thing, and I'm going to tell you right now, it sure looks to me like they were targeted. He was targeted for J6, and she was targeted by being out in public with her daughter. None of them had anything. She didn't have anything to drink or anything like that, because I know that they asked. I heard the story and was just so outraged at what happened to them. So here you go. There's their legal battle assistance. They need some more.
Why was she in Missouri? I thought this was Tennessee.
She was on her way to Colorado from Tennessee because she's like, they don't have the right to take her daughter home, and they arrested her, sent her daughter back to Tennessee, and put her in jail in Missouri. So this is like a multi-state kidnapping of what's going on here. They broke the law and then are just saying, no, we're just not going to follow the law. They effectively braided this whole situation and, just doing whatever they want. They're not following the law. They're not following anything. And now what we've got to deal with is, let me bring it back up again. The picture's here. And this is what they're guilty of. They're guilty of this.
Yeah, the physical and mental trauma and this birth control thing is very concerning.
Birth control for a 14-year-old. Why are they putting her on birth control? Because they're trafficking her.
What is going on here?
I can't even imagine the anguish. Can you imagine how afraid that mom was in that bar?
Yeah.
Or at that concert, the Miranda Lambert concert. Can you imagine how afraid she was? Because you know what, this is a problem, and I think this is a good lesson for everybody. The first assessment on anything we see is generally wrong, because we have all of us had MK Ultra involved in our lives. They know how to manipulate people, and now they're having people overreact to see things like this that may be no problem at all. And before you jump in and decide to be a do-gooder on something you don't know anything about, the trafficking is what they're covering up. So when you see situations out in public, don't automatically jump to that position, because you're probably being used by them right then and there. Stop, look, and listen. We have so many people that are mentally ill out there running around because they refuse to deal with it. And the families are having to deal with this stuff. I can tell you, I've got a very mentally ill daughter. She's under care of a psychiatrist full time because she lost half of her brain. She has half of her brain gone because of the train accident that her mother died at her side. Her bio mom died at her side in a train accident, and half of her brain is gone. And she looks kind of normal until you're around her for a few minutes. And then it's like, and if she's not having a temper tantrum or something because somebody didn't buy her a pair of socks. I mean, we've had that happen. Mm-hmm. It can look really bad until you get in and see it. Kids act up. I remember when one of my kids, in fact, the one that that graduated from high school at 10, super smart kid. One of my kids is like off the chart IQ. I mean, most of my kids are pretty smart, but he was little and he kept getting up in a shopping cart when we were in. I'm going to bring John on a minute. We were in the store, and he kept getting up and he was going to fall. And this is before they had the seatbelts on him, because I'm old, my kids are older, right? So I took him and I sat him down and I said, do not stand up in this cart again. You may not do that. You're going to fall and get hurt. This woman comes over to me in the store and says, what's your mean mom doing to you, to my son? And I looked at her and I said, the mean mom is trying to keep him from falling on his head out of a cart right now. And so that knee-jerk reaction that people have is always the wrong reaction. Stop, look, listen, and evaluate the situation, because they've made us all hypersensitive to this what we see, instead of realizing we have people involved in this. And hey, John, how you doing? Thanks for joining this morning.
Thank you. When I saw Thomas was pulled away, I was listening online, and I saw Thomas was pulled away. I thought I would join in, and that way maybe I could fill some gaps while he was talking. Looks like you're doing that.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm a good talker. I mean, I'm over 500 and some odd shows at 2 hours a piece. So I do long interviews with people that have been silenced, like I have, like Dr. Kent has, like you guys have, because this information is not getting out there. And so they're still manipulating people to go, oh no, this child has been abused. You know what? The ones who are abusing these kids is CPS, Homeland Security, the politicians in the seat, who are, a lot of them are pedophiles, and they're involved in these networks, and they are protecting the networks of people that victimize children. They're not protecting them. They're absolutely victimizing them. In fact, I got a story to tell you. I'm going to get off on this side, and then we'll come back to this. You can talk as long as you want. I own this entire system. I do not censor. You may say as well as you can talk as long as you want to get this information out. And may God motivate everyone out there to jump on this and help. Get involved in the people in Colorado, Tennessee, that judge that just incarcerated Steffany and all that. You need to talk and get loud and say, this ain't happening in the United States of America. I met a woman that her name is Ruth, and she was raped the first time at 10 years old. Her mother said, go wash this crap off, and just ignored it. When she was 14, she was gang raped. By the time she was 18, she was being passed around by the cops in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And she said, wherever they say they're helping children, go for domestic abuse. She said, that's exactly where they're grabbing these people, and because they're without protection. And she said, those are the ones that are abusing these people.
Mm-hmm.
CPS, shame on you. And all you good do-gooders involved, do-gooders involved in the system, walk away or whistleblow on what's going on, or you're complicit. And so help me God, you're going to burn in hell, because God is going to go after these people that refuse to stand for the children.
Well, I don't believe that God is going to allow this to stand. And Tom's wife, Steffany, she has been so positive and so as he talked about earlier, focused on trying to make this happen. I hope we didn't just lose him. That she's been so focused on trying to get this resolved. I've been talking to Tom for quite some time now about this through American Patriot Relief and through others, that he's also a part of American Patriot Relief. He's gone and spoke for us nationally in venues that we're needing help. And so he's been able to, he's given his time with everything else going on to help others who are in need. And so now we need others to help him. We need people to step up, to step in and to step forward. We need to be talking. We need to get this communication out there. Donna, you don't know how much I appreciate, and that the groups that I'm with appreciate what you're doing right now.
Thank you.
It brought tears to my eyes. And it brought tears to my eyes. Last night, he was on another podcast with some mutual friends, and everybody was crying because of the horrific nature of this event and what they're doing to this family, this God-loving, God-caring God. They're trying to raise strong children that are patriotic children who love our country, who love our judicial system. And how do you do that when something is this corrupt? It's incredible.
It is. So I'm going to bring Tom on by call here, see if he can come back on this way. For some reason, yesterday my computer screen went completely black. And so they were trying to shut me up because I was talking about the crime syndicate. Oh, there you go. I got him. The crime network. Hey, Tom, how you doing? We got you back. I can't hear you.
You might be on mute. No, you're not.
See if we can get you back on, because I can't hear you. See if you can leave and join again. Sometimes that happens, especially if they want to shut him up.
He might be on his phone.
Yeah, it looks like a phone.
So we'll see if he comes back on. We'll try it again, and if he can't, I'll just call him. But yeah, well, the whole J6'er thing too. I got to say right now, I want to know who those women were that stepped in, if they were plants to target them, because this is kind of crazy. And for her daughter to really get into a situation where there's that many people. I know that my daughter does not handle crowds well, and so sometimes those things can happen. And don't, like I'm saying, do not jump to conclusions like everything out there, because we are conditioned not to recognize mental illness, autism, or anything like that. We've been absolutely taught not to be able to recognize it, and then to be foot soldiers of the deep state.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, you're there.
Yeah, my computer. Something happened with the computer, so I don't know what happened. As soon as Kramer showed up.
Can you get closer to the microphone?
Spirit of Kramer.
Get closer to the microphone for us so we can hear you better.
I said it's the spirit of Kramer.
Hi guys.
Hey Kramer, how you doing, buddy?
So Kramer was part of the assist in trying to help us rescue our daughter from the harmful environment that she's found herself in.
Was there any video of the original incident at the bar or concert?
Yeah, we tried to gain access to all of that. I'm not sure if my wife has any of the footage, but I know that she reached out to talk with the security and everybody else that was in and around that area.
It seems obvious to me, just if somebody objectively looked at this case, that this didn't just happen from whatever they're thinking, in the concert. Obviously, your daughter has some serious, emotional issues going on because it's still going on. And obviously, the mother's not doing it. So
that's a CPS injury right there.
Yeah.
That's the fault of CPS.
There's no objective judge looking at this.
No, not at all.
Because they're all involved.
Yeah. You got to find a lawyer to sue, to file a lawsuit. That'll wake them up.
Well, I think if the population gets out there, if all of us start getting really loud and contacting people, they will listen to public pressure on this.
Yeah.
The court system's going to bury this. They're going to drag this thing out until they have done so much irreparable damage that there's no words to describe it. So you know what, guys? We're going to we have to step up and say things. So you know what I'd like to see from you guys is I want to see a list of everybody that's been involved in this, and I want to see names. And we're going to throw these people out in the public who have had one little finger of interaction on this case.
Names and contact information. And it will be a grassroots effort to start emailing and mailing these people, calling them
and throwing their name out there. The people need to know the criminals that are behind it, that are sitting in the seats. And then not only do we need to do that, we need to throw the names out there, and then we need to contact people that can actually have an effect on this, like the governor and or people that are above the pay grade of CPS that know they're going to lose their seats, their selected seats with all the bad publicity. We can do this we can do this as we the people.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you should also go to, some senator or somebody, and I would just camp out in front of his office until you get their attention. Because one phone call from a senator could probably stop this.
So we've been
Colorado.
How we ended up with Donna, talking to Donna is exactly that. We started networking out and talking to people and getting people who know people and bringing this forward. And as fast as we can do it, I mean, this has gone beyond. I can't imagine my child being in there. They would be missing a wall in the side of the building. I'm afraid. I just, I'd want to pull it down because, I love my children. I want to fight for my children. I want to fight for my country. I didn't get arrested, but I was present on January 6th, but I didn't do anything. I mean, I walked around the Capitol and left. But the people that are being destroyed, and I do believe that there is a connection in between January 6th and what's happening to him and why it's happening to him that way.
Absolutely, there is.
Nashville again is a big city. And they're very liberal, and they're doing these things to people who are conservatives, who stand for something, who stand for anything other than the woke causes that they're all standing up for out there right now. It's just absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, just terrible.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, and you're doing a lot of stuff with the J6'ers, and so John, I'm going to bring your website up here a minute so that people can see what you're involved in. What's the name of it again? American
Patriot Relief. What we do is we take care of J6'ers, and so a J6'er is defined as somebody that has been in jail is going to jail or is getting out of jail. Their families have been totally destroyed. Normally, everybody's lost their job. The founders are Mark and Jaleese Middleton. They were at the Capitol. Jaleese has a blind left eye and a crippled left foot, I'm sorry. And they were in front of the Capitol praying, and the police decided to move the barricades towards them. And they moved them into them, and they're praying face to face. They have, covers on their heads because it's very cold out there that day. And they're praying. And so as the police started moving towards them, they started pushing. Well, what does a husband do when his wife is getting pushed? She's 5 foot nothing. He starts pushing back against whatever's pushing against him. And they end up arresting them. And there you go. You saw some of the people. That was the Middletons are on both sides, and then Terry Anderson is in the middle. Terry Anderson is what we call a beyonder. Beyonder is somebody who's being opposed by the government also for various different reasons, and they become part of our group also. So we don't pay legal fees, but we pay for life instances. We have bailed 4 houses out that were in foreclosure. We've taken them out of foreclosure so that the families would not be homeless and out on the street. We pay medical bills. We pay utility bills. We fixed cars. We bought pharmaceuticals for people, but we help people. If people need to go from California to DC for a trial, that they're being brought into a trial and they've lost their job, they lost all their income, they're basically homeless at that point, and they can't get there, that's another charge against them. And so we give them money so they can get to the trial, so they don't have a charge for contempt of court. We also pay for their family. Oftentimes, it's the only time that the father or mother who may be incarcerated will have a chance to see their son, their daughter. And so we send them also. Then just outside of the court in D.C., we have a...
I don't know what happened.
Hang on a second. I'm going to bring you out on voice. We'll just do it by phone, okay?
Okay.
All right. That's fine. And that's perfectly acceptable. We do that sometimes. So keep going, please, John.
We call it the Nest, and it's a place for the January 6'ers to go to stay. It'll house like 6 families for them to stay there, so they don't have the additional cost of hotel fees in DC while they're being tried or prosecuted or persecuted, I should say, and then brought in as hostages. The Middletons need your prayer also. Their sentencing is July 7th.
Did Jaleese, is it Jaleese? Jaleese, did she lose her eye or have her leg hurt in that altercation at the Capitol?
No, she's been crippled since birth. But
okay.
There's actually video footage of the policeman grabbing her scarf, pulling her into him. She's trying to get away, and he's pulling her into her by her scarf that's around her neck and spraying her point blank with bear spray.
Those bastards, you know what? I hate to say it, but they're a bunch of bastards. And that Capitol Police that was involved, they were under the direction. So like Ivan Rakelin, and I'm friends with Ivan, right? He has this thing. He's an intelligence officer. He's a Green Beret and a really good guy. He's got this thing figured out. He figured it out. He's got it pointed at. It started with Pelosi and Schumer, and they were trying to get rid of President Trump, the seated president at the time. These people have to be tried for treason. Every one of them needs to be tried for treason. The Capitol Police, Elon Musk needs to put all of the DMs out there for everybody to see what was going on. We need to stop hiding this stuff and throw it out there so that we can get to the bottom of these criminals and put them in a place where they can never do harm to the United or families like Tom. I got Tom on the phone here, so we want to make sure you guys can say everything that needs to be said today.
So again, my belief is that because they knew Tom was a January 6'er, whenever his wife got arrested that first time, and they found out that he was a January 6'er in prison for January 6th, that they went after him because they would do the background check and find out that information. And they went after them to destroy that family, as I've seen them do across this country.
I want to know those women that were standing in the bar that tried to separate. Tom, you're on right now. Can you talk?
No.
Tom,
I'm sorry.
can you talk? You're on speakerphone right now, so can you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's go ahead and have you talk. But I want to know who those women were that detained your daughter and pulled her away from your wife in that bar. I want to know who these people are.
Right. Yeah. You would think that those names were never released to my wife. She wanted to find, she wanted that information as well, but that was not given to us.
Sure sounds like they were targeted.
There's a very good possibility that that's the case. I don't know. I'm not really a technical guy. I'm in construction all my life, so I know how to swing a hammer and set some tile and all that good stuff. But when it comes to the technical, you see I had problems, so I've got to get on the phone. I can't even operate a computer.
That's okay. I worked with a private investigator, and he came to me through some of the people out there in Maricopa County when they were, digging down in, and we actually drilled down into Tennessee about 6 months ago. And the human trafficking network down there, we actually found some locations, which coincidentally were sitting right on water, somewhat like, I don't know, say the Grand River type of a situation. But we found some operations down there where in Tennessee, and there's some disturbing things. People really don't have any idea of how vast this is and how they've weaponized their entire government against families, against children. Against businesses. I mean, this is a war. We're in a war right now, and most of it's deception.
Mm-hmm. Most of it is deception. I don't doubt that a lot of this that's going on with us, the reason that it's dragging on so long is because of my January 6th involvement.
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard to discount that. I mean, what other reason? So there's no abuse and there's no neglect. The charges were dropped. Okay. So what is it that you're keeping our daughter on? Why is it that we're too dangerous as parents, or are you now telling us that she's too dangerous to enter society?
Could she be telling the court or something that she doesn't want to go back with you guys?
No, she actually wrote a letter to the judge that the judge didn't even want to read about how she escalated things. What her past history is, and how she wants to go home.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible. It's just so blatant.
Who's the judge in Tennessee that was involved in it? Because we heard the judge
it's actually Magistrate Will Hoyt.
Magistrate Will Hoyt. Let's give him the. Let's see if we can give him the. How do you spell last name?
Wilhoite. Will Hoyt.
All right. We're gonna give him the opportunity to be have the fame that he's so deserving right now. Is there a woman or man?
It's a male. I don't know if there's any pronouns involved.
Look.
Just saying.
Well, that's funny.
And not funny at the same time.
Oh my goodness. All right. We got the court administrator. We've got Anthony Smith. We've got Yvette Kane, Calhoun, O'Neill, Altman, Robertson, Roseburg, Summer. Magistrate Elijah Will Hoyt.
There you go.
There we go. Let's give him the his deserved honor right there. There's the guy right there. There's the guy that should be talked to right there in the Nashville government, the judicial administration, for why he has broken the law and kept this child from being transferred to Colorado.
Yeah. I'd like to know. I'd like to hear his answer.
In fact, let's go down all of these people.
He won't give my wife an answer.
In fact, let's go down through the court system of the entirety of Nashville. Screw you, people. We're gonna put this out there. You want to be famous here? You go, Anthony Tony Smith. Why have you not said anything? Yvette Kane. Why have you not said anything? Alan Calhoun. Why have you not jumped in and seen anything and said anything? Michael O'Neill, Julie Oatman, Paul Robertson, Scott Rosenberg, Leanne Sumner, Elijah Will Hoyt. Shame on you.
Well, there's his email address. Is that it?
Well,
Is there-
Yeah, it looks like it.
but it
That
goes
is.
through the clerk, Veronica Costco.
Uh,
Shame on you people. Hang on a minute. Okay, we got Tom back. Hold on. We've got tech extraordinaire here, getting him back on here. We'll put you on. You can face these people that have done damage to your family.
Yeah, there you go. Magistrate Elijah Wilhoit. There's the man right there that is keeping us from having our baby back. Yeah.
Yep, there he is. And let's keep going. We've got
the champion of parental rights right there.
Yeah, there you go. Owen Winningham, Safe Babies Court. Why haven't you said anything and done anything here? Shame on all of you. So anyhow, we got some email addresses, people.
Yep. Then there's also Christisha Young is a caseworker who's involved, and that's the person who just transported my daughter from Missouri back to the abusive facility. You know, so here we go. She's right back where she started. You know, she needs to come home. There's no reason for her to still be there.
What's her name?
Christisha, CH, just like Christ, and then ESHA, Christisha.
And then the last name again is what?
Young, Christisha Young. Oh, yeah, we've got an email chain with all these people, every single one of them.
Oh, she's in therapy, Don.
Can you share those emails, Tom?
Oh, I'd love to.
She's in Colorado?
No, Christisha Young is in Tennessee.
Spell her first name again for me, please.
CHRISTESHA Young. And her email address is going to be christisha.young@tn.gov. And then there's also Thomas Miller, who is the GAL.
Boy, she's got a low profile here, that Christisha Young. We've got, here's her Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, is she, well, this is interesting. Look at this. Is that her?
Probably.
I don't know. I've never seen the lady.
Well, there you go. Let's see. Let's see if if that's her or not. I don't know if that's her or not, but if it is, we should all be disturbed right now.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any picture of her as far as her position in the child services department. But then there's also Thomas Miller, who is the attorney or GAL for my daughter, Thomas Miller at thomasmillerattorney.com.
Hey, I'm going to see if we can run this thing down here. I think this is interesting.
Thomas Miller is the guardian ad litem.
Mm-hmm. I believe he's the GAL. Yep.
For those of you who don't know what a guardian ad litem is, a guardian ad litem is the person that takes whenever there's a minor involved, they act as the minor as an adult in the legal system and supposedly represent that person.
Now, I don't know if that gal that I brought up before is the same person, because there's like no contact for her anywhere. But there's a student at Austin, PA State University. I'm not sure that that's the right person. So, but it's part of the process of chasing these things down. We're not going to have a knee-jerk reaction here, but we're going to try to chase this thing down. So, interesting.
So here's the attorney that represents my daughter that my daughter's never able to talk to. And anytime she does talk to her, she's completely shut down. And that person is TJ Jones. It's a lady. And her address is TJC is in Charlie. So TJC Jones at lawyer.com.
Okay. Keep going. Let's throw these names and these addresses out there. And
here's one person that we talked to and told her that she is just as responsible for the damages that have been caused to our daughter as anybody else. And that is the person who was counseling at Youth Villages, which is marie.blunt@youthvillages.org. So that's MARIE.BLUNT at youthvillages.org.
And when I'm offline, can you text all these or email them to me when we're done, and then I'll post them on my channels too. But yeah, I think this is important, guys. We need to get involved, and we need to tell them this has got to stop. They're breaking the law.
Claudia Guzman is another one. She is part of the court system. Claudia Guzman, and my wife has uncovered just a string of things that her name is tied to.
Huh. Throw it out there, Tom. Let's let them know that we're here. We're not going to put up with this.
Yeah.
Any particulars on what she's tied to?
Let me see if so I sent you that letter. There's a letter that I sent you. There's 2 emails I sent you. One had a letter in it, and her name is at the top of the letter.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me get it up here. Did you? Okay, here we go.
Case manager Claudia Guzman was replaced by Christisha Young. So Claudia Guzman was the one who started with this whole thing. And then you see Will Hoyt's name in there.
See if I can get this up there.
The magistrate in Colorado that declined jurisdiction after the UCCJEA hearings was Magistrate Jane Candia Ramsey.
I've got all kinds of things in here I can share from the Google Drive.
Yes.
Do you want me to put this up here? So let's see what we have, and you can help me with this, navigate this. Hey, this is what we do. It's like building it on the fly here. We're gradering it. There's the emergency protection petition for custody.
Yeah, these are all the things that I believe my wife had filed herself. This is all the stuff that she's done with all the hours she's spent trying to figure out what's going on here or how she can get Lilyana back.
Wow.
Relentless. She's relentless. This is what a mama bear does. So, you know, she held the family together while I was doing the time that I was sentenced to. And now, you know, the shoe is on the other foot, and now I've got to hold everything together while she goes through this. And we're going to bring our family back together. I promise you that.
Is there anything in there that you want me to show it? Where's the letter? There, I saw some in the let me try to pull this
So
up.
right underneath the filings Google Drive is regarding Lilyana Rose Cook and her DOB, and then there's the letter that's written to governors, the governor of Tennessee, Lee, and the governor of Colorado, Polis.
Okay. Not a minute. Is that in the Google Drive then?
It actually looks like if you scroll down past that, there's the letter that's going to them. I can copy and paste this if that's what we need to do.
Well, you know what? You can share your screen too. If you are you on your computer?
No,
Well, you know, we'll get it up on my Telegram channel so everybody can see this and then respond.
Where do I go to share screen settings?
You go into present.
Oh, present. Okay. Okay.
And then go up to the top and it says window.
Yep, window.
And then click on the window that just shows that screen.
Gotcha.
And then it'll come into my dashboard and then I can share it for you.
Okay. Let's see.
Shame on all these people. I'm so disgusted by them.
So that's not what we want to share.
Yeah.
Can I say anything?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, when
this is Gerald Kramer. This is one of our spiritual buddies.
So I met Tom and Wendy. I'm sorry, I met Tom and Steffany during the. Tom came to my church, to give his testimony, and so then we did the Trump convoy together. I was a trucker for 22 years with the government. Had 3 clearances of DoD, top secret service clearances, and so anyways, I don't call myself a Christian no more because I'm a disciple. Because faith without actions is dead. All I ever see Christians do is pray. You have to do something. So anyways, Steffany I believe that when I was picking her up, once we crossed the state lines, that she was free. She showed me the paperwork, that once we crossed, there'd be no more jurisdiction. So, we drove, when we left Monday, we drove 835 miles to my daughter, to where my mom lives, to my daughter, because my daughter was also sexually assaulted in her preschool 24 days before she turned 3. And then we left that Tuesday after doing the oil change, got 750 miles done, Jackson City, Tennessee. And then we left Wednesday morning to pick her up, and about an hour away, and then trying to find her in this town because she's so secretive, trying to figure out where she was. But we finally got them both. And I drove all the way to Danville, Kentucky, and went and ate and got some clothes for Lily, and some bathroom stuff. And then from there, we just took off, and I went all the way to St. Louis, Missouri. And had I known that I wish now that I would have just let, Steffany would have drove, or I would have known. I thought we were covered. I thought we were good. You know what I mean? Lily wanted to, and Steffany been trying to get some rest because she didn't get no sleep because of the chaos with the airport. And so we check in the hotel, I get $111 sent to me. It's $111 in room 111, which is God speaking to me. So 3:00, they sent 10 officers, 10 cop cars. And so they're banging on the door. Gerald, you in there? And so I just got to use the bathroom. So I opened the door. They ripped me out. They handcuffed me the wrong way. They hurt my arm. They wouldn't let me put a shirt on. They wouldn't let me put shoes on. Then they called Steffany out, and they grabbed her, handcuffed her, and didn't let her put no shoes on. And they took got Lily out of there and didn't let her have shoes either. So I'm like, can I please have some shoes? And so I had to walk all the way out of the hotel without a shirt for a while. And they took her, and Stephanie's like, I'm sorry, Kramer. I'm like, it wasn't about that. It's just like, I had no idea. Had I known that, you know what I mean? I wish we'd had more communication. But anyways, and so when that happened, it just broke my heart. I've been crying and just calling everybody, because we need to get Trump. We need to get General Flynn. We need to get this out there. When I was a trucker, I reached out to my Senate, my House, my Congress, trying to fight, when the fuel prices was $1,000 to fill up my 18-wheeler. And so I'm not done. We're not done. And I'm going to try to get Tom on CBN, the 700 Club. And because I'm not done until Steffany and Lily are here. I'm in this for the end. So thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome. Well, we all stand together. I mean, you guys have been fighting. Everybody here is a fighter that's been fighting for this nation. And it's unfortunate, but our, the depth of what these people are capable of is just unspeakable.
Yeah.
At St. Louis County Jail. This call
Okay.
is not private.
We'll see if this is a better call. But
Coming back on.
Stephanie's calling.
Okay, let's see what she has to say. We're going to just keep this going until we have your voices
heard.
Hi,
baby. Oh my God, it's so much better. It's not as loud.
Okay.
All right, we're still on. Yeah.
Cool. What's going on?
We're still talking about all this that's going on. Kramer was just sharing what happened with you guys firsthand, as far as driving, picking up Lily, the whole experience, and then how everything just kind of fell to shit in Missouri, and now you're.
Did you guys get that footage over to Jordan here?
No, I got it right here in the black bag. So apparently I do have footage from a lot of the stuff in Missouri. So we just went through listing all the people involved and bringing up their profiles. Had you ever, what does Christisha Young look like?
She's a very young black woman.
Yep, that's her. Okay, so we had her.
Yep, we just found her Facebook page, and it's very concerning.
Wow. Oh, you should go look up Claudia Guzman on LinkedIn. Claudia Guzman traffics children. She posts publicly. She has all the companies that she's connected with. Claudia Guzman. She's a heavy set gal. It'll say that she's a DCS worker or something. That's what started this whole rabbit hole. Claudia Guzman has 10 different identities. She was arrested for selling methamphetamines to undercover agents just a month before she kidnapped my child. I could go on and on.
Okay, well, I wish I could find her. So I wish you would confirm if this is her or not. I don't know if she can.
Yes, that's Christisha Young right there.
Okay, so she's got a Black Queen Facebook page.
Yep.
Long hair.
Well, she calls herself the Black Queen, and what was that?
High school?
What was that post that you just had up?
I believe this is probably her, but I don't know. Brighton High School, Clarksville, Tennessee, from Brighton, Tennessee.
Yeah. So somewhat provocative of a Facebook page.
What does it say she studied there?
Studied sports, health services, exercise, human performance at Austin State University. If that's her, I'd like to confirm if that's her or not.
That fits the description that my wife just gave me of thin, long, braided hair. That's what your hair would definitely. No. She is she.
Well, if you download the Securus app, you can schedule your business with me, and then we can do videos.
Okay. Securus app. I got to go to the Securus app.
Okay. I'd like to confirm if that's her or not. I really would, because this is. I mean, we need to go through it. If it is not, I'm going to apologize to this young woman. But if it is her, we need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So we listed Will Hoyt. We listed Miller, Thomas Miller.
His full name is Enoch Elijah Will Hoyt. He doesn't list that publicly. First name Enoch, Enock. Middle name Elijah.
Yeah. Is
Will Hoyt is Wilhoite.
a colored fellow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We pulled him up. Thomas Miller, we listed. TJ Jones, we listed. What other people?
Wendy Rutherford.
Wendy Rutherford is another person. That was the attorney that didn't do anything for us.
Everybody at the Rose Center.
I listed Bree Blunt. I think Jordan's here right now. I'm at home. But Cello, stop. Jordan, hey, buddy. You want to talk to Jordan for a second, honey? Steph's on the phone.
Hey.
So our investigative journalist who set Steffany up with a bunch of spy pins and spy stuff just showed up, who's trying to head the charge on things as well.
Well, this is really amazing, and I think that these people need to be contacted on what's going on here. You know, it definitely feels like there's some targeting involved in this.
Some bond people.
Right.
When you come to
so yeah, we're working on a lot of things here. You know, we want to get Steffany bonded out of jail, so we're getting things set up that way. Yeah, so she's standing as sui juris in this whole situation.
Not a bad way if you establish yourself outside of the jurisdiction of the court system, because then you talk to the record rather than talking to a judge. It takes it right out of the judge's hand.
That's what made the court so upset, was that right there. She was speaking to the record.
What are the charges they're holding her on?
Parental kidnapping is the only one I know of right now.
Oh man, I wish you had been there to.
Can you charge like Tennessee with kidnapping? Because it's kidnapping. I bet you'd have one hell of a lawsuit with that, because they broke their own laws. I mean, I think you should charge, drop a civil case on them for damages. And you don't even have to do it because civil case, the beautiful thing about a civil case is that they're guilty until proven innocent. Could you like charge them? That's a Troy. I talked to Troy Smott. That's what he's doing. He's got a case already written up, and he's doing it for kidnapping because that's what they did. They kidnapped him out of Texas to bring him back to DC. They had no jurisdiction to do so.
Right.
Tom, you know that American Patriot Relief in Troy, we work together on some things, right?
No.
Okay, so we have some connections here in Dallas with him. And so
I love Troy. He's been on BNN, and I love his story. He is an incredible human being, and the work he's done, writing up his own case and such. He really is an inspiring individual.
Yeah, he's working on a case with some other folks that are part of the leadership of American Patriot Relief. So we can get you connected up with him too. And thank you, Donna, for bringing that up because I hadn't thought of that. But that's brilliant. And I'm going to tell you the fact that they went and they injected your daughter with this thing.
Birth control at 14 years old.
That I hope, Tom, that your retirement is paid for by these idiots and the things that they've done. I hope we get an attorney and that we get rewards from this. You get rewards from this for fighting and destroying this cabal that they've come against you with. And I'm so proud of your wife for standing strong and being able to speak. God's given her the grace, given her the words, and given her the actions to stand firm and stand strong. That's incredible.
Here's what so if my wife is convicted, the end result is going to be that we won't be able to live together because I'm a convicted felon from January 6th. And if she ends up being a convicted felon because of this charge, the broken home still exists. We won't be able to live together until one of us is off of probation.
Wow.
So this is we understand what the consequences are. However, the fight is far more important than the consequence because that little girl that's behind me in the picture right there is our whole entire world. And she does need to come home. She needs to be home. She needs to be home.
Okay, so I'm going to put this out here a minute because we're going to just keep going. We're going to keep going here. Hang on a minute. We need this to be addressed at a higher level.
It wasn't an Amber Alert. It was a missing and endangered person.
Okay, I'm going to call.
So they put out a missing and endangered persons alert.
Yeah, and they said Lilyana's with her non-custodial mother.
And they said that Lilyana was with her non-custodial mother.
Yeah, it was all over. It got blasted, and it was the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation who initiated it. So we looked into all of it. Yeah.
So I use my car for the hotel.
Oh yeah, well that's just standard operating procedure. They probably called around to all the hotels, but we never used her name.
Well, here we go. This
Anybody from Colorado?
They had all over the last week, so maybe somebody had seen you guys and called, and then you don't know. I don't know, but
we need some help here, Governor Lee. Help us out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
it's time for you to do something, Mr. Lee.
Made,
and the human trafficking in Tennessee by CPS.
You got to move forward.
How about Marsha Blackburn also? We need somebody who can contact.
Prayer, seeking the Lord, and
hey, I'm gonna do something real quick. So I'm gonna put Jordan in this seat. He's gonna fill you in on all the stuff that he's uncovered, and I'm gonna jump on the phone with my wife for a minute.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna have to run too pretty quick, Donna. I've got another commitment.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, John. And I really appreciate your time. And you can come on and talk about the J6'er stuff anytime you want. Just give me a call. You got my phone number now. And, I'll try to help whatever I can to get the word out there.
One more thing about the American Patriot Relief. We're all 100% volunteer. Nobody within American Patriot Relief takes a penny for anything. We pay for our own expenses when we travel. So anybody that gives money to the cause of taking care of the January 6'ers, that money goes to the January 6'ers. We don't take one penny. Nobody has done that.
That's great.
That's awesome. That's what we do here on BNN. BNN, we're all working for free, and we just want. I brought down in Brandenburg. I just want my country back, and I want this nonsense stopped, dead in its tracks. Stopped. This assault on America families, and this beautiful family that's had their rights violated and has been victimized by a weaponized government. This is despicable. So thank you, John, for coming on. I'm going to welcome Jordan on. Hi, Jordan. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's your last name?
I'm Jordan Scott, and I'm with First Amendment Media. We've been following basically the whole story over the past month. I met Steffany at the Colorado State Capitol when she was testifying, and we kind of connected there. I said, I want to get your story on film. I want to document it because I feel like this is important. I feel like this is a story that needs to be told. Obviously, it's not something that is in the scope of a lot of mainstream outlets, So she was having trouble getting her story out there. She was having trouble getting help. So we actually had filmed an interview with her a couple weeks ago before all this craziness happened, and she was really trying to fight to get her daughter back. Last I knew, we knew that she had these hearings coming up, and there was all these things that were pending, and none of it sounded right. It sounded like there was some very fishy things going on, and I'd say worse than fishy. And a lot of this was off the record, Steffany said, and like when it comes to appeals and stuff, trying to appeal these things when they're off the record is next to impossible. So Steffany's been fighting an uphill battle, and we've been doing whatever we can to help her, get her story out there and just connect with the right people that might be able to help her. And this development, this update is just, it's terrifying, and it's heartbreaking because, this is just taking one bad situation, and now it's so much worse. And it looks like Steffany's going to be taken into Tennessee now as well.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so sorry, but I'm thankful for everything that you're doing and that John's doing, and with everything going on here. I mean, this should not be happening in America.
Yeah, it really shouldn't. And we're seeing a lot of parent interference all throughout the U.S. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of the Project Veritas investigation. I believe it was with Planned Parenthood out of Missouri and Kansas, where they had taken a child across state lines for an abortion, and this is definitely a little bit different of a situation, but it just goes to show that, the state is stepping in, thinking that they can parent better, thinking that they have rights over the parent. And, I knew from the minute I met Steffany that deep in my heart, that's seemed to be the case here, that we had a J6 family that seems to have been targeted from past experiences. And now there's all these new problems in this set of circumstances that to me appears to be targeting of a family, by the state, by the federal government. And it all is part of one package for me. And that's how I'm going to report on it.
What have you done so far as reporting?
What's that?
What have you done so far as reporting?
Could you guys talk for just a second? I'm going to step away for just a second, and I'll be right back. So, David, can you continue on with the interview?
Sure.
Thanks.
So far, I've just kind of been running down leads, looking into some of the UCCJA laws around this, what that pertains to, what jurisdiction this would fall under, some of the the stuff pertaining to authority and the court system that, like Steffany said, doesn't have this stuff on record, doesn't issue these official things. Steffany's saying there's no official custody order that they have. And then under the UCCJA laws, this is the set of regulations and laws that pertain to interstate custody of a child. And, in Steffany's situation, it definitely applies. A lot of times it'll apply to two parents who are battling for a child, and, it pertains to custody. But in this case, it pertains to the custodial guardian in Tennessee, which is this youth center. So they have this person at the youth center, and this set of laws. They're supposed to, once they, take custody of the child, contact the home state within 30 days, because the home state are the ones who are supposed to do a lot of this groundwork, to go in, follow up with Steffany, do the home study. And I've said from the beginning, and I've been looking into this, but I've said from the beginning to Steffany, I understand we all make mistakes, and without even looking into this, even if there was something that was done wrong, and, you said you've done everything you had to do to get your daughter back, they owe you that chance to get your daughter back. They can't circumvent the legal process because they want to target you. Everybody has to have the chance to go through the process and get their children back. And what it sounds like to me is now what should have been 30 days to contact Colorado, get in touch with them, and then work together with Tennessee to, help this mother get her child back, whatever that might mean, was not done. And now we're looking 7 months in, and she says nobody from Colorado knows anything. Nothing's on the record. So, it appears really bad. It appears like a not only a dangerous situation, because she was claiming that there was some dangerous things happening in these facilities, not only a dangerous situation, but I'd say, a ethically wrong situation, and possibly a legally wrong situation. So we're running down leads. We're trying to contact people in Tennessee to see, officials, to see who could look into this a little, because none of it sounds right.
Yeah. Oh, none of it sounds right from the outside. I can tell you right now, none of it sounds right.
No,
and I'm really wondering why people are not stepping up to the case there to look into this. It's like turn a blind eye, look away, don't do anything, and watch the criminals in the government. If anybody that's in there can see this and they hear this, they have an obligation to investigate wrongdoing on Americans. And if they're not doing it, then they're guilty. They're all guilty then.
Yeah. It's true. And I think it has to do with the narrative that they try to follow. And that's what I meant about, this all kind of being a package deal. This is just my personal opinion, but I believe that a lot of people haven't picked up Steffany's story because her husband's a J6'er. And whenever corporate media hears J6'er anywhere in the storyline, they run the other way.
I bet they do.
And that's just how it's been. It's not getting any better. And I think that is what has caused Steffany to be so suppressed, to be so targeted, to not have a chance to get her story out to the media. When I heard all of this, I had already known about the travesty of what was happening to a lot of these J6'ers. I had already looked into it. So, I knew about it. I didn't have this media bias going into it because I knew the story. I knew the full story, and a lot of people don't. And we won't get into that with the J6, but we
could.
There's stories that need to be told, know. And unfortunately, especially lately, it seems like the only way to get these things out there is through media, undercover work. I mean, like with Project Veritas, this stuff was being done through Planned Parenthood. They were writing they were saying they could write a letter to the parent while the child was in school and change the letterhead to deceive the parent, not let them know actually what was happening. So they're obscuring documentation, they're changing things and doing whatever they can to hide it from the parents. But none of that would have been known about because it's so confidential. It's so off the record. It's so covered up when, especially pertaining to a juvenile.
Yeah.
And it's like you aren't going to be able to find out about it.
Yeah.
There is no records request for anything like that. So it's very important that everybody starts stepping up, especially parents. We have a lot of stuff out here that goes on, and we go out to school board meetings and we try to do our due diligence. But even when we get national media stories out here, sometimes in Colorado, you don't see parents showing up. You don't see really anybody that cares, and it's discouraging, and like with the Jeffco school incident, there was a child that was put in an abusive situation, and that made national news. We went out there to the school board meeting thinking it was going to be a room full of outraged parents. There wasn't one parent. It was just us from out of town. That's it.
Well, unfortunately, people tend not to act until it affects them individually.
Mm-hmm.
And that's too bad. Until it's right in your backyard, most people won't do anything or see anything or be outraged. And that's the problem. We need to have people that are willing to step up and run for offices at a local level who are just normal people, not these career politicians. And we need to hold them accountable. And every person that's out there needs to treat civics, to treat their involvement in government affairs as a part-time job. It honestly, we are electing these people to be our representatives. They are not. They are. If you were managing this as a business, every one of them would be fired. Every one of them. And removed, because they've all committed criminal activities by being in the seat, and nobody's stepping up. And you can talk Republicans, you can talk to doesn't matter. They're all pretty much worthless at this point in time, because if they really wanted to change it, they could. And if you're threatened, shove it in their face. It's like shove it. Betsy DeVos threatened me, and it was heard by several people what she said. So I threw it right out there. You're going to threaten me? I'm going to throw it right out there for God and everybody on the planet to see. Shove it right in their face. If they're gonna come after you, run right into the fire, and don't back down for any reason whatsoever. Because you know what? I really believe this comes back to God fighting our battles. He absolutely will defend, protect, and honor our intention. If our intention is to do the right thing, you've got hosts around you that will help you. God himself will open doors. He will shut people's mouths. He will come in there and fight that battle for us. If our intention is good. If you back down like a coward, God hates cowards. He absolutely says it in the Bible. It's like, but anyone who stands firm in the faith in God, he will never let us down. And then that battle becomes the battle is the Lord's, and God cannot be defeated. But we've got to be able to run right into the fire and then watch what God does to part the sea, to change the entire situation that's there. And I'm proud of every single one of you that's standing with this family, Jordan. You guys are amazing. And the fact that you've gone into school boards and stood for other families, I am so honored to be talking to you right now. And whatever I can do to help, I will. I mean, like, I own Brandenburg News Network, okay? It's the whole thing. I do it all for free.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And that's when I started First Amendment Media, it was just kind of like this media entity, like what you guys are doing with the volunteer basis. And, I get what you're saying, because that's what we've been doing, is trying to run into the fire and report on what people won't. And, if anything, you could have people check us out. But we were the ones who captured the censorship of Christina Goki and Dr. Richard Guggenheim at the Colorado State Capitol. And now there's an active lawsuit based upon our footage. They tried to censor us. They drug us out. They called the cops on us, but we stood our ground. And the Secretary of the Senate had to come and pull, these representatives' goons off of us and say, no, they can film. We had to capture this through a window with remote audio, and they deleted the record. And at least the record, it was off the record. They stopped the record, and part of somebody's testimony they should have never taken off the record. And we captured it all. And now because of that, which they tried to say no filming that day, but we knew we could film. We knew our legal rights. And
they don't get to say that. These people are working for us. They don't get to determine any policies whatsoever. And there should be complete transparency and respect for the American people, God's children. Not like there's this hierarchy, this tyrannical hierarchy. You know what? We should require cameras everywhere. And I mean, I'm completely, until we get this rat's nest cleaned out of criminals, we need to be okay with, it's just like they'll say, we want to protect the rights of these people. No, you're not. They're just trying to protect their own behinds. That's all they're doing. Has nothing to do with protecting rights of anyone out there. If somebody is honest, why would they not want this to be out in front of everyone? Unless you got something to hide.
Right.
Otherwise, you should just say, here it is. What are you going to do with it? Be okay with it being out there.
Well, and I'd go as far to say that a lot of these people doing this hate free speech and our First Amendment rights. And I've witnessed in the Colorado Capitol them censoring speech to pass through legislation. We've been documenting it. And, not only that, but the stuff they're putting through in the language is an attack on free speech. It's like, SB 2484, the attempt for the Attorney General to prevent mis and disinformation bill. This is Orwellian stuff we're talking about. And
in Michigan, we've got a 1963 Constitution that was illegally installed. They didn't have the votes, but they did it anyway. So when we look at repealing things and looking how far back this subversion has gone, it's gone a long way. They just passed three proposals in Michigan that were highly deceptive, besides the fact that the election was completely rigged, that the votes didn't count or matter in that election whatsoever because they cheated and it was fraudulent and with foreknowledge. And so the proposals that passed, one of them they said was for abortion rights. No, it wasn't. It was to take parental rights away so that they could kidnap your freaking kids through CPS, the largest child trafficking organization on the planet.
Yeah, and we're looking into them too. And, because there's some stuff that's happened here and everybody, this needs to be handled the right way. And there just needs to be transparency around the board. But, it's just been a pleasure meeting you both. And if anybody wants to check us out, you can go to YouTube /1A_media. So it's YouTube, the number 1, letter A_media. And you can check out our work there. A lot of our work at the state capitol and stuff like that. And I was just going to pass it back to Tom here, but I just want to thank y'all too for everything you're doing to help this family. And Lord willing, we'll get this squared away and justice will be brought about to all the people that are doing this to this child.
This is incredible. So thank you, Jordan. I'm gonna ask everybody to jump on this. They threw some names out, and I'm gonna go ahead and put out some email addresses where they can contact people, find out who's involved in this, who's who in the zoo here, and help save this child. Who I'm gonna put the pictures up again because we're gonna have to face this. This is a CPS injury that is. This is a CPS created situation and injury. This is the fault of CPS on a 14-year-old girl. So with that said, CPS in Tennessee, this is your fault. This is what you caused on this child. This is not the parent's fault. This is your fault. And every one of them should be brought to justice over this. So how's your wife doing, Tom?
She's good. I got to get the Securus app taken care of so we can do video visits. She needs a couple things there. She wants some family pictures, some she needs some care items and whatnot. Apparently, I guess she can get these where she's at. So I'm gonna try and overnight some stuff this afternoon.
Well, and if they do, they'll charge her 3 to 4 times the amount because of the prison system and the protected contractors too. I mean, this whole thing is a nonsense thing that needs to be reformed.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say? Thank you so much for coming graciously on here and sharing your story with everyone. People need to hear that. And if you email me all of the links of those email links, I will put them out there so people can help contact these people and get them moving to get your daughter and your wife out of being political prisoners of an illegal system, which is our own weaponized government.
Yep, it is. It is. We've really got to step up and get involved if we're gonna right the ship.
Yeah.
Thank you
Do
so
you have
much,
time
Tom.
for a prayer, or do you need to go
Yeah,
right now?
absolutely. No, I've always got. Everybody has time for a prayer.
I think so too. So let's involve God in this for big time, everybody, and let's say a prayer and help this family. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so very, very much for Tom and for Lilyana and for his wife Steffany and Dr. Kent and Ralph and all the wonderful people, John, all the wonderful people, Jordan, that have come alongside of this amazing family and to help them. We ask that you would destroy the plans of the enemy, that you would complete and utter chaos in Satan's camp to destroy this family, and that you would out all the people that have had a part in this and the damage that it's been done here, from J6 to the kidnapping of Lilyana through CPS. We ask that you would bring justice to this entire situation and light to every part of it, not just part of it, but the entire thing, the parts that are way off to the side and the parts that are central to the issue here. Even the two women that were in that bar, because I'd like to know who they are, and I'd like you to bring them forward so that we can find out if they were for real or if they were plants, because we want to know. Every single person that has violated the sanctity of the life that you have given to Lilyana and this precious child got autism, we ask that you would protect her in every part of her life right now, wherever she is, that you would encamp around her, that you would protect her physically, that you would protect her mentally, that you would bring help to her in a way that would defy explanation by everyone, and the miracles that can roll out of your hands to protect this beautiful child. And also for Steffany, we ask that you would protect Steffany, that you would bring her help, that would open doors for her, that would bring this to the forefront, that would help her facilitate the release of her from in unlawful incarceration, that you would open the eyes of Governor Lee, that you would be with Governor Lee, that you would be with everyone in the government who's actually fighting for a just cause, to jump in to hear this situation and to help with what's going on here, and call all the criminals that are within CPS, pull them right up by their short hairs and let them know that they are not able to do this anymore, and prosecute them for human trafficking, because that's exactly what's going on here. We can see it. We know that you've shown us exactly what we need to see today. And we ask a special blessing on Tom today, that you would give Tom, his precious son, Ben, peace and help, and the peace that passes understanding that only comes from your hand, that you would give them all your favor in unexplainable ways, that they can see every day that you're opening doors for them, that you're protecting them, that you're bringing them together, that you are standing with them, all the J6'ers, all of the people who had their children kidnapped by CPS and their families torn apart by an unjust, godless, and I mean godless judicial system that we've got going on right now. We would ask that you would bring this entire system right down to rubble, that and anyone that's involved in it would come against your children, that you would absolutely, that this battle is yours. We know it's yours, and we know you have every ability to fix this, and we ask for your intervention, because we're not big enough. We don't have a voice that's big enough to fix this on our own. We need you to fix this for us and to help us to know what to do on the path every step of the way, to stand for what's right for your world. It's your sandbox. You make the rules here. We're willing to do whatever it is that you ask us to do in obedience to you, as one nation under you, one world under you, your creation standing with you to take care of things, not to victimize them. Thank you so much for this day and your help and your love for each and every one of us, that you care for each and every person, for all those people that are fighting the good fight every day. Give them an extra breath of wind today and a little bit more air under the sails so they can keep fighting strongly, that they don't back down, and that they're willing to do whatever it takes to follow you and fight this mess that we have under your direction. We thank you for everything good and beautiful and pure that you put here. It's a beautiful thing. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, we pray and we love you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Donna. It's been a pleasure. I'm so glad that I've met you. Thank you, Dr. David.
I forgot the pastor's name there. I mentioned Jordan. What's the
Leroy Kramer?
Kramer. I should have remembered Kramer,
Yeah.
So thank you, God, for Kramer. And so thank you so much for coming in. Anytime you want to come on here, you just tell me and we'll snap those cameras on and we're going to throw those criminals right out in the public so that they can be recognized for what they've done. They can't hide if we don't back down.
Yeah. No, this is the biggest, this is the most exposure that you've helped me get so far. And I appreciate that. Terry Anderson at the Real Deal Broadcast has done a tremendous job in helping me, get to know a lot of these people, be able to be involved. John Parigi is just, he's instrumental in making connections and then for you to be a part of this. And I'm so very blessed and I can't do anything without all the people that are involved. It really, when we get together, we become a power source. Individually, we can't do very much, but together we can do so much more. And thank you for allowing me to do that.
You're welcome. Well, anytime that you need the camera snapped on, if you're in the midst of a crisis, I'm going to tell you, the people that listen to this broadcast are pretty stellar because they wouldn't put up with if they were woke, they wouldn't put up with my mouth. And that's the truth. And so, which is a good thing, So if you need me to get on and put you on camera anytime, day or night, you just call me. You've got my phone number. If your wife needs to talk and get something out there, you just call me and I will, even if I'm like, getting out of bed, I'll jump in front of this camera and we'll get it out as it happens and try to defend, help defend you, any of the J6'ers and such. And like I said, I don't get paid for this. This is all just volunteer because we care about you. We care about your family. We care about your children and your wife and all you've been through and everything. That's it. And we'll stand with you.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, David.
Okay, so
thank you, everybody.
This is the part of the show we're going to go to. Stay on the line when we're done, and we'll talk some more. You guys can stand when we're done. Go to BrandenburgForGovernor.com because I am the best non-conceding who has ever not conceded in the history of the United States of America. I am not going to concede the 2022 election, and I'm the only governor candidate that is not in the state of Michigan. So we're still fighting a good fight. We're still gonna get this thing to work. Just wait. We're gonna keep fighting it. And with that said, God bless you all. God bless all those whom you love. God bless America. Have a great day. Starts here. Starts with toughness. Do what that guy did. Keep standing. Keep fighting. Do what these two guys do. They're a good example. And we will talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Be safe and never back down.